hospital in Palo Alto, California, and I know a lot of doctors. And also, my sister is a well, she's a PhD, but she's not an MD. And she was working in research and development, and she would see these people, and she told me this multiple times, when there would be these pharmaceutical companies coming by, like, Pfizer, Moderna, whatever else, I don't know. And they would come by and they would be pushing these different drugs onto the doctors. And because she wasn't an MD, she was never actually proposed with this type of information, but she had to see it and review it. And like, oh, here's this new drug. And the doctors would get bonuses based on the amount of drugs that they were pushing.
100% true.
Oh yeah, it's 10,000% true. It's absolutely, it's how a lot of doctors make more money.
So if you look up I just looked up the ingredients. It says it has protein, carbohydrates, and fat in the Ensure ingredients. In the fat, it literally says vegetable oils, canola, soy, and sunflower, which is chemical sludge. That's what they recommend for nutrition, dude.
So
and if that's what you're drinking, dude, man, I'm robotic.
I'm sorry. I thought you was through, Lionel. I'm sorry.
No, Lion, your audio is good.
Do you know? But do you understand like what vegetable oil is, left? Like canola and soy? Poison, dude. That's what leads to cancer. And that's what they were prescribing my mother for nutrition, was Ensure bottles, like a pack of Ensure. Make sure you drink so many of these every day.
Yeah, you know what canola oil stands for?
Canada oil or some shit? I don't know. I forget.
Yeah. Canada oil. It's actually from the rapeseed. It's called. That's what
Don't drink that shit, Left Flame, dude. That's an oxidizer in the blood, in the system. When the oil enters your system, anything it comes in contact with, it's an oxidizer. It leads to inflammation and fragments the DNA. Go look at there's a doctor called.
It can't fragment. It can't get into the DNA to fragment your DNA. I've been drinking a bottle of Ensure a day for probably 25 years. It's kind of my breakfast to make sure that I get the vitamins and minerals I might miss. In other ways, I'm 62, medication free. I take zero medication. I take a BC powder, or an ibuprofen, but I'm completely healthy. I'm 6'2", I weigh 190 pounds. I'm as healthy as I've ever been.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, Left Flame. That's what's up, bro.
Left Flame. The body's resilient, right? It can take a lot of damage, bro. But to say that, vegetable oils don't fragment the DNA, I suggest you go look into the work of Dr. Johanna Budwick, who's a biochemist, right? And she studied the lipid membranes of the cells, and she studied the different composition of fats and oils, dude. Dude, vegetable oils are oxidizers, as in they have free radicals that fragment the DNA, dude. What's the opposite? The opposite of antioxidant, right? The vegetable oils are oxidative. They cause damage to cells and DNA, dude. I kid you not. Not making this shit up, dude. They cause cancer, bro. I believe, right, the number one cause of cancer is rancid oils.
Yep.
Not cigarettes, right? Not your Wi-Fi router. It's oils in our food, seed oils.
Yeah, I think
that's like the new rage of the town. What I've heard in regards to medicine and nutrition is that seed oils have been coming out being known as basically toxic and completely nonsensical in regards to people's health. I barely ever use oil at all, even when I'm cooking, but I don't know what the deal with seed oils specifically is, but apparently it's really, really harmful.
It clogs up like the immune system, like the lymphatic system.
Yeah, what you need to do is try one of them chocolate Ensures. They're pretty delicious, actually. I've had them before. My mother used to have those. Change your opinion all about it. Fucking little chocolate Ensure. I'm sure Left Lane could get down. What flavor do you drink?
That's it, man. That's it.
Chocolate. My mother used to drink it. I used to fucking steal them and drink them too. They were good. But yeah, dude, fucking seed oils. You know what I think's weird, and I think like it plays a big role in shit. And I definitely think seed oils are bad for you. But is people that don't have salt, because the body, like they've told everybody not to eat salt, and it's weird. Your body can flush out salt, but it doesn't know what to do when it doesn't have enough salt. So it's like I
They
think
actually
lack of
tell people they need salt.
right.
They
Well,
say
I
the
mean, like,
opposite.
let's say, like, I know, for instance, like diabetes people that take or whatever, they just refuse to have any salt on their food. They're convinced that salt, so they're not getting enough salt. I mean,
Well,
maybe they are.
the
I don't
thing
know about
about
doctors.
salt, if
You
you
know.
compare salt to anything else that you would eat, salt is the only thing that is a rock. It's not an actual food. It's the only thing that people eat that isn't actually food. And then they tell you you need to eat it. Um, it's just a complete psyop. You don't need to eat salt. It's not good for you. It's really bad for you, actually.
I would disagree with that only
Alright.
because when now and then I could be wrong, but when I was in the military, we would be in certain areas such as Thailand when I was there. We would be sweating a lot. It was very, very hot, and we had to take certain types of supplements in order to replenish all of the sodium that was being sweated out through our body in order to survive. The people in Thailand didn't have to do that because they were already adjusted to that type of environment. They lived there.
Well, yeah.
But
Think about when you're eating seafood. Like you're eating like some semblance of salt. Like if you're eating like take like for instance like take like plants. Like that's what I find interesting. Why I think that the only food we need is meat is because the plants eat the rocks, including salt and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? And they integrate that in them, and then the animal comes along and eats that, and then we can eat the animal and get the residual salts and everything from those animals. But I think like salt is really just like you're right. It is like a spice, but it's in seafood. It's in it's natural. And I think also it helps the body digest water. You know what I mean? Like that helps the cells. I don't know, man. Salt is really good for you. I think the lack of salt is really fucking a lot of people up because the body will. That's why you see all puffy diabetes people. They're all big and fat and puffy because they don't have enough salt. And then they'll tell you that they
It's
can't have
completely
any
the
salt.
opposite. Eating salt actually
How so?
causes inflammation. It causes your body to be puffy. It causes water retention. Um, it causes you to be constantly deficient. And just like, yeah, there's sodium naturally present in foods. If you eat salt in its rock form, you don't properly digest it, and it inhibits the digestion of other minerals that you would get from food. So it actually, it's not really good to eat at all. But
It's
yeah,
interesting. It's the first I've ever heard of that.
Now, this is completely horse crap. Your sodium, your
yeah, we're gonna
potassium,
take
your
health advice from you.
calcium, all of the ions that are responsible for your muscular and nerve conduction, action
Mhm.
potentials in the muscles, all of that is controlled actually by the constituents of salt, ions.
Okay, but you realize sodium is naturally present within foods. So if you just eat food that has sodium in it, then you don't need to eat salt, right?
That's a fair
Interesting you
point.
say that. There's like this tribe in the middle of Africa somewhere where there's no fucking salt out there. And so what the people have been doing for generations is they take the bones of all the animals that they kill and they roast them in a fire until they've completely burnt everything but the minerals. And then they take what's left of that ash and they add it to their food for the next day. And that's how they get their salt and their trace minerals.
Interesting. You can dissolve it in water too. You can dissolve bone.
okay, so is there such a thing as a sodium deficiency?
Yes. Yes, there is.
Okay. So then if we have salt, would that help alleviate sodium deficiency?
Yeah, it would.
I think the argument is that we already get enough salt probably, from animal products. We don't need to add any more salt. That's his right. That's your argument. Rock, at least in its rock form.
Yep. Salt causes a lot of problems, and you don't need it. You can get all your minerals from your foods because they're naturally present within the foods. And then if you're doing
cheese
that,
and meat and eggs
yeah,
have natural salt in them already in bioavailable form.
Gargling salt
interesting-
water can be really helpful, though. I got rid of my cankle sores by doing that.
that's people use that
Ankles?
to
Yeah, my
break up their
cankle
mucus.
sores in my mouth. Gargling
Yeah.
salt water helps that.
I have no idea what that is.
When I was a roofer, my old boss used to make it a point to go get us really salty fries on hot days because when we would sweat a lot, he said that we needed more salt, you know. And it's that was a thing for me, dude. If it was a hot day and you were sweating a lot, yes, you need some fucking salt. You can't just be drinking water because you are losing those minerals.
Yeah, when I was in Thailand and Iraq, what we had to do was take electrolytes, and it was basically like a Gatorade pack, and our corpsman would actually require us during the breaks to actually watch us consume about 12 ounces of this stuff. You know, it's just you just mix it with water, and that was to replenish the electrolytes in our body. But it was a serious thing. It was an actual medical requirement for us. I don't know exactly.
Well, how do you know? I mean, how do you
Go ahead.
know that you had to do that? Like, did people not do that and there was problems?
Well, we were required to. I was in the
Exactly.
fucking
Yeah, the
military.
military. Yeah, the military knows its studies. They're like, right at this point, you need fucking salt. Like, they know exactly when you
Totally,
need
yeah.
salt.
You need vaccines,
You
you
know?
need antibiotics, you need salt when you're in the military. They
No,
really care about
I
it.
didn't. I don't know the answer. I'm just saying that's what I experienced.
Yeah,
You see, Andrew wasn't the person in this case. He's the machine, and the machine needs what it needs. And so the people who run the machine gave the machine what it needs. Is that inaccurate,
Yeah.
Andrew?
No, it's completely accurate.
You know how Ensure has vegetable oil in it? Did you know that Mountain Dew also had? It says brominated vegetable oil, also known as BVO, and it was banned in 2024, dude. They just banned it. And Mountain
RFK,
Dew,
my man, RFK bringing the heat to the motherfucking FDA, baby.
Yes, sir.
and Mountain Dew was
Saving the
something that
world.
I used to drink as a child, not knowing better, and I always felt like it had a different texture than all the other sodas I drank. And then I remember reading it, I'm like, what the hell? This has oil in it? Like vegetable oil in it? And I'm like, that can't be good for you, bro. Intuitively, you know that can't be good for you, bro.
Yeah. So something about Mountain Dew. I loved Mountain Dew, just like you were describing. And then someone told me, "Oh yeah, it has this thing called Yellow 5, like the food coloring, and it's a chemical that will lower sperm count."
Yeah, you know what we used to hear was that it was from Yellow 5 had pig hooves in it or something, or like, I remember hearing that back in the day. That it was like Yellow 5 was like pork. So like a lot of the Muslims wouldn't eat anything with Yellow 5 because they thought it had pork in it. I don't know if it does or not. I forget.
I know Yellow 6 has cadmium in it.
Cadmium?
Yep.
That's used in electrical circuits.
Yeah, it's hypertoxic.
Whoa.
Because the body is a motherboard.
True. We are electric.
It says BVO was controversial and had been linked to potential health risks, including damage to the liver, heart, and brain, bro. And I remember like binge drinking this stuff as a child because everybody thought it was cool to drink Mountain Dew.
Every other flavor other than regular Mountain Dew is good. You're just drinking piss.
Yeah, I've not had a soda or a pop, depending on where you're located. I've not had one of those in probably 8 years.
Yeah, we don't cater to people who call soda pop. Just for the record.
I'm just saying that.
For the
Yeah.
record, dude. All right.
Well, no, when I was in the
Fucking
service, you had
soda.
to meet people that were
I,
from
yeah,
all
no.
around.
Those people don't count, bro. They're from like Gay, North Dakota. Don't worry about that.
No, they're like
Fucking
pop. Like,
pop.
what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
We've heard of those
Like a
people
sound?
before. Yeah. I've traveled around a little bit, but still, we don't cater to them. Relax with
Yeah,
your.
everyone just calls it soda. It's just, it is.
That's right.
What it is.
That's right. Welcome to the 20 fucking first century. It sounds like you're going to like the fucking like the Grange Hall meeting to get a pop. You know,
I mean,
with your fucking
people from
horse and
different
buggy.
locations call
You know,
different things. You know,
that's
that was one of
cute.
the cool things that I experienced when I was in the service was just meeting these people from all these different walks of life, different ages, different races, ethnicities, and all that kind of stuff. And I learned a lot. And that was one of the things I learned was pop? Like, huh? What are you talking about? Oh, you mean a Coke or a Pepsi? A Mountain Dew? Yeah, that's what they were
Cactus
talking
cooler.
about.
I fuck with Dr. John.
The
I've
musician.
heard of Crocky
No, the
Pop.
soda.
It was pretty good.
Crocky Cola.
Yeah, RC Cola. What's up?
You ever heard of poppycock?
Yeah.
That's some Latin
That's where you
American
get the
shit.
seeds
You guys
from.
got weird shit, dude. Them Latin Americans got fucking weird ass shit. You go up in the grocery store, it smells different. Motherfucker got like weird ass orange soda you never heard of before.
No. I'm saying it's a word in like the UK. They use poppycock. That's poppycock.
Oh, no, they fucking don't. And I used to live over there. They call it, what do they call it though? I'm trying to think, what do they call fucking soda? You know, it's weird. We used to get, I remember I used to get, as a kid, we would get a flat drink that had like a juice. And then we'd have like they used to call it lemonade. And it was like a sparkling, like, but it was like, it was weird. It was like ginger ale with like another one. And we used to make it. I wonder if anyone from England here has ever had those. It's like, it used to be like,
It's Sprite and cranberry juice is good.
well, there's that too.
Do you mean
But-
Iron Brew?
I don't know exactly. No, it was just literally like, I remember as a kid, we used to just get like, it was like a fizz drink and then it was almost like a flavoring bottle.
Oh,
and we
Sprite and cranberry? I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
you
it's
ever had?
tasty.
Yeah, we used to make cranberry and orange. We used to call them crange. It's a good little drink. My
Well,
dad
I know
used
you
to be
can
into
make,
mixology.
make a mimosa, which is basically just champagne and orange juice, but Sprite and cranberry juice? No, I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude, have you ever had a shandy?
No.
Oh, dude, I gotta say, like, I mean, what you do is you take half a beer and half, like, or you do like half a glass of Sprite or whatever, and then half or ginger ale, and then half a glass of a beer, and it's fucking delicious.
All right. I'll take
Yeah.
your word for it.
Oh yeah, I used to drink them as a kid in the fucking local in England. Like they used to have these, like they still have them, but it was like they call them the local. I don't know. I used to go there with like my great uncle and like fucking. It's like, you know, they used to give the kids a shandy. You know, I used to have a shandy at like 12 years old at the fucking club. You know, where they're drinking beers and shit. It was like kids drink. It's good shit.
Well, I've heard Shirley Temple, like the kids version, when I was pretty young.
Yeah, as a boy, what was it? The what do they call them? Roger. What do they call it? Shirley Temple for a boy is called the Roy Rogers. That's it.
Bloody Mary.
Oh, yuck.
Okay, I'm gonna flat out say it right now. Bloody Marys should be illegal. That's the most disgusting fucking thing that's ever existed.
Dude, anyone that drinks tomato juice, like I'd always look at them like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, you know, like people that just get a tomato juice at the fucking store.
V8.
Yeah, it's
The fuck
V8
are you-
with vodka
What the fuck
and
are you doing?
it's like a celery. It's like, what is wrong?
Tomato juice, celery, and vodka.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? That drink's a good drink in the morning after, like, a little hair of the dog kind of thing. Other than that, ugh, I can't even then. That's, yeah, not my thing.
That's not even hair of the dog. That's just gross. Some people drink it while they're sober.
Yeah, I used to know a buddy that would make them in the morning, like just hair of the dog style. Like,
Oh
I
shit!
even then I couldn't drink it. Oh God, no.
You got to be rushing
That was hardcore.
mountain in the Appalachians, like Khabib.
Nah, you don't drink alcohol if you like Khabib.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right. Just get up and run, bitch. Here's some fucking raw eggs. Go for a
Yeah,
3 mile run.
I love them guys, dude. I don't know, dude. They took over the UFC. Honestly.
Yeah, man. You know what's so cool? I used to train in Sambo. Like, I'm so proud of those guys. Like, Fedor Emelianenko came to our gym. My coach was savvy with them and, like, all them Russians. Like, I have my patch, American Combat Sambo and shit. Like, they respect. It's a
What?
cool fucking. It's a small little
Respect.
world, man. It's a small. Oh, dude, I used to roll with all kinds of motherfuckers. Like John Danaher. You ever heard of him? I don't know them personally, but their school was a block away. And Marcelo Garcia's school was a block away, so all of them used to cross train. So they used to all come into the Sambo gym and like teach and stuff. A couple of my coaches were fighting in Bellator and shit. Badass motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, Sambo, dude. I mean, people are mad right now, dude, because they're like undefeated. All those guys.
Yeah, well, it's so cool. Sambo's such a different sport though, too, because it's such a cool sport. Like, I prefer jujitsu, to be honest. Just because in Sambo it's a lot of wrestling. Because once you hit the ground, you only got like 10 seconds to go for a submission, and then they stand you back up. So it's like constant. It's grueling as fuck, man. Big up to all the Sambo dudes.
Yeah, I was actually talking about wrestling and jujitsu and MMA last night. And when it comes to actually learning how to fight, if you learn how to punch and box, that's a good starting point. But then ultimately, all it takes is for one person to know how to bring the other person to the ground. And if that person knows how to grapple with jujitsu and things like that, then if the other person only knows how to box, they lose. Because it's just all about like leg movements and knowing how to maneuver your opponent. And I know that because I wrestled for 4 years in high school, and I did different types of combat situations and whatnot. So, anyways, I'm not trying to get off onto that tangent.
Yeah, no, yeah, MMA is a whole nother discussion. I like to see this Bryce Mitchell shit though. Speaking, keep it in the MMA vein. Is
He screwed his own balls with a drill.
who did?
No, he didn't.
Bryce Mitchell, yeah, look it up. It
He
was in
did,
like
yeah.
2018. He
He did
completely
the whole
destroyed his cock and balls. Yeah,
the BME Pain Olympic stuff, dude. Kidding me?
Yep.
Who?
yeah.
Wait,
It wasn't on
whoa.
purpose though. It was on accident. So
Bryce
Used a
Mitchell.
drill on his balls.
yeah, Bryce Mitchell. He's got no cock and balls. It's pretty much mangled. It looks like a
When did this happen?
What the fuck?
faucet.
When did that happen?
Like in 2018. Look it up. Something like that. Multiple years ago.
I know he just had a kid, so I
It's
don't
kind of
know.
why he started losing his mind, saying the Earth is flat and shit. It was pretty crazy.
I think you're making shit up, right?
I think
You
he's,
gotta
I
be
think
making
he's
that up.
drained out.
Yeah,
Look it up. It's
I
real.
think. I don't know. I'd have to see. I mean, I know he does construction, but I don't see him fucking pinning his balls to a fucking piece of wood. I just don't see it. Bryce Mitchell's cool as fuck, man. Actually, he hit the first twist or one of the first twisters. I like that dude a
UFC
lot.
fighter Bryce Mitchell rips scrotum in freak accident. Bryce Mitchell reveals details on drill accident.
Damn, I gotta
UFC's
look
Bryce Mitchell recovers from
I'm not on
power
his
tool
nuts like
injury
that,
to
I
his
guess.
It would
scrotum.
normally require you to actually share your stream on that, but I don't actually want to see it if it's actually real.
All you have to do is look up Bryce Mitchell
Yeah, I
tragedy.
don't know if I
There
want
only
isn't
to.
thing that comes up.
pictures. It's not like they posted pictures of it.
You could probably
All
ask
right.
him for one. He'd be open.
True.
Yeah, I'll show you my
Yeah.
balls.
You can start an OnlyFans with that.
All right. Well, that went sideways quickly.
No, he's not wrong. I never knew about it. This is crazy. UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell
All
ripped
right.
his nuts.
Are you guys looking it up? I'm not.
I'm looking it up. So I mean, I like Bryce Mitchell. I just didn't. I'd never heard about this. That's pretty wild. All kinds. I mean, shit happens, bro. You know, I don't know.
No, that's not. That's
That's
not shit
crazy.
happens. That was intentional.
No, it wasn't intentional. I don't think. No. It wasn't
No?
intentional. It was a freak accident. Like he was probably like I know people that have like cut their thumbs off and shit. Like shit happens.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
the-
not intentional. But if you're
Yeah,
gonna
That's why I don't think this
cable
was
your
intentional.
your
This
scrotum
wasn't-
to a wall, that's kind of
That's not.
intentional.
He's just
This
a
is-
fast worker, dude, and he messed up.
Right, shit happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm curious with the actual. I mean, I don't really. It's not something I want to look into, right? But it is crazy that that would happen to somebody. That's fucking wild.
It was a humiliation.
No, it
ritual.
doesn't happen to somebody. That
He goes.
happened. Okay,
Let's see. I'm
it's
not sure.
different.
Going through-
Andrew, you're saying he did it intentionally? Like he's like into that type of
I
thing?
would have to assume that that was not accidental.
Maybe.
He was pissed at his mom, so he did a stupid thing to make himself go crazy.
Let's see. So it goes. So he wrote on his thing. It goes. So I was going to train today, but I ripped my nutsack in half. I'm about to get stitched up. I was holding a board over my head with a drill in my pants. I was sizing it. I was sizing up the board, and the drill went off and tangled my nuts up in it. I dropped the board and reversed the drill and untangled my nutsack. That was ripped in half. He goes, "I'm serious too." LOL.
All right, okay, that's about
Obviously, he goes, I obviously can't post a pic, but when my nuts are sealed back up, I'm gonna come back and trade again.
all right. Well,
Huh.
that ruined my fucking weekend.
Yeah, dude,
Andrew,
what's so
you're
fucked
funny.
up
You
is-
murdered people, but nuts being screwed makes your
I did not murder anyone.
Dude, fucking, keep the power drills
I
away from
shot
Bryce.
to kill.
Fucking, well, dude, I've fucking put it. I could see the scenario, but I've always put the drill in between my knees, kind of thing. Like you just hold it, and then. But I guess it could. I don't even know. I'd never put a drill in my pocket, to be honest. But whatever, shit happens. That's crazy as fuck. Thanks for the info. I had no idea. That's fucking
So
wild.
now when you hear somebody screaming about, "Oh, I love Hitler, I hail Hitler," you might want to think about what's going on in his pants. He might be
Well,
fucking
no, actually,
destroyed.
that's what's actually interesting. I actually dig that he was so brazen about that, and I thought it was crazy that he went on. Did you see him go on that podcast? And the one guy like shut him down. Like, we're not going to give you a platform, and you can't discuss it. And their
Yeah,
fucking
he got
whole
his balls
podcast.
corkscrewed. He just doesn't.
Yeah,
know
check it
about
out. And their podcast is now over because of how they treated Bryce Mitchell. So fuck them. Bryce Mitchell's the shit, dude. I love that he's a flat earther, man. Fucking right, dude.
You know, he's an
Okay,
agent.
so I have to bring this up because I spoke about it in length yesterday about Hitler, Adolf Hitler. Anyone that's here right now, tell me why Adolf Hitler is an evil man.
Because he's got white skin. Game over.
Oh, you want to start that conversation again, dude?
No, not really.
Just don't go there. Don't take the bait. Just have the conversation.
Yeah, it's probably a bad topic to bring up
No,
again.
he's just being, dude. Let him be funny anyway. It's kind of funny. I mean,
I'm not being pretentious.
Now go ahead.
No, he was a
saying,
good
I don't
guy.
care. I like the combo, dude. It just gets hectic. Go ahead.
Yeah, it does. But Taylor, she brought it up yesterday, and
Oh, and I brought it
asking
up.
her-
I think we can have that conversation without lying about a bunch of people, without slandering a bunch of people. We can have that conversation.
Hey, yo, here's a good way to have that conversation. Have you guys seen the Dan Bilzerian interviews?
The what?
No.
He's going in. He went on Hodge Twins or whatever, and was just talking he was like, he goes at one point, he goes, it's fucked up. He goes, you could pretty much put a blindfold on pick any tragic event in history and blame it on the Jews.
That's funny.
And he goes,
Dan-
you'd be
Dan
90% right.
Severian?
So fucking funny. Dan Bilzerian, that like millionaire guy with like a million fucking like
Never heard of it.
prostitutes around him
Apparently,
all
he's
the time.
like. Apparently, that's all fake. He's not actually rich. It was all a fake.
Yeah, well, he's still hanging out and flying in jets and doing his thing. I don't know, but either way, fucking, he's been like slaying these podcasts with all this like information about Hitler and about Judaism and about all this different stuff, and it's kind of interesting how that's happening. Because you know what I mean, like it's kind of weird. Like when like Hitler had policies, like if you had one kid, they paid like 25% of your house off. Like weird, like shit that like was good for his economy and his people, which is like wild. You know that we're like we. It's weird that we like. Have you ever heard Nick Fuente's Cookie Monster thing about how many cookies could a Cookie Monster cook with this many ovens? How many? How long would it take for the Cookie Monster to bake 6 million cookies? And how many ovens would he need? All the fucking trays.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like-
that part, yeah, that's.
oh my god, it's
well,
hilarious.
The
But I
Auschwitz
mean, like,
thing is completely
and he
ridiculous.
brings up and he brings up how like the Bolsheviks were 85% Jewish and they killed like 10 million Christians in the Russian revolution and shit. It's just weird facts and that like people are like glossing over. I don't know. I think that's why the resurgence of the subject. But Dan Bilzerian's having the conversation.
Well, the thing about World War II and other world wars, like World War I, World War II, and then the current World War we're currently in, which is
Bruh.
World War III, which is it's a kind of a shadow war.
Bruh.
See, but
It's a
Is-
I
Cold
think that
War.
The
well, it's like
fact
take like
is,
Fanta. Oh, go on, brother.
the fact is, a lot of people weren't alive back during World War I and World War II, including, I think, everyone here. However, certain people are able to look up certain information about that and then have a little bit of a dialogue in regards to these different types of historical references. I think World War II was another fabricated type of situation, and that the Holocaust, no, did not exist in the way that we were told. Not even close. I know a lot of people died in the during World War II, but it was not what we were told. But that's what's written in the textbooks and historical records. It doesn't mean it was real. Same thing with World War I, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, or the Crusades, and all these different things. History's written by the winners.
What about the Holocaust survivors that may not so recently have died that talked about it? I knew a nurse, or my family doctor's nurse, actually escaped one of the camps, her and her family, when she was a child, but she had vivid memories of it and wrote a book about it.
Okay, cool. And continue on.
Well, I think what's weird to me is what's fucked up, and regardless of even if they had 10 people in them camps, it's wrong to a certain extent, right? But what's weird is like the idea that there's that number system that they all got tattooed with. That had to be calculated by computers, and the first use of computers was actually the calculation of those numbers in Auschwitz and all the fucking concentration camps. And that computer company was eventually what to become IBM. So IBM was the first computer, like, or whatever, or not. It wasn't under IBM. It was another name that became IBM, and they are the manufacturers of the tablature computing system that was in the camps in Nazi Germany. And what's another thing that's fucked up is like Fanta Orange, which this always trips me out because I always grew up with like had like a South American thing to it, like and Fanta Orange was actually produced by Coca-Cola to continue doing business with the Nazis after the war was started.
Sorry, pet peeve of mine. There's no T in the word Nazi. Sorry, a little pet peeve. Yeah, it's not Nazi. Like pizza. Everyone's sorry. pet peeve. But when it comes to the actual historical
Why are
records
you being a
of
grammar Nazi?
no,
Yeah,
it's
Andrew.
2 words. That's all.
Nazi.
Yeah, there's no T in the
You're
word.
enunciating with that.
Yeah, no one says Ashkenaz. No one says Ashkenazi.
That
They
sounds
say
like
Ashkenaz,
astronaut.
Ashkenazi.
It's just about pronunciation. That's all it is.
Nope.
Ashkenazi sounds like astronaut.
And just
When
for
it
the
comes-
record, you guys don't need to say Hitler was a bad guy. If you don't say that, it's okay. If you don't
What
say
is- but-
Hitler was a bad guy, we're not gonna think that you think Hitler was a great guy. Because that'd be
Are
a
these
false dilemma.
translated speeches of his on the internet real? Can anybody confirm that?
Yeah, they've
Uh,
translated all of his
I
speeches
don't think.
now.
I don't know if he referred to himself as a Nazi or a Nazi. I thought that was like what they slandered him as, right?
If those are real recordings translated, he sounds like a really big empath, which is really weird.
Sounds like a
Big what?
nationalist. Yeah.
He sounds like an
Sounds like a
empath,
what?
like he was begging to not have to do what he went and did. He said he like warned people multiple times, like 5 multiple times before they attacked to get everybody out of there, but they didn't. And the same thing, like they tried multiple times to request for these people to be relocated to all these surrounding countries, but nobody wanted them. Just sound like a guy with his back in the corner.
Okay, so in regards to World War II, has anyone ever seen Europa: The Last Battle, or the other one called Adolf Hitler: The Greatest Story Never Told?
No, I saw Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
That was pretty
I've seen
good.
those.
I've
Yeah,
seen
Band of Brothers is
Greatest Story Never Told. Yep.
yeah, I don't like Band of Brothers.
I've seen The Greatest Story Never Told and Band of Brothers.
You don't like the Tom Hanks productions?
No.
I'm making another documentary to go in line with those other two. It's gonna be a
He got real
continuation.
popular after that, didn't he? Old Tom Hanks.
He did. Yeah.
You
that's
guys seen the
Steven
Hibbler
Spielberg.
the Hibbler productions on it?
Hibbler did
What's-
World War
No,
II?
no. What's the spin? What's his spin on it?
Same thing, bro. He's exposing the history, right? The inaccurate history of World War II, which I know I'm on board, bro. Like I posted some documentaries yesterday how Hitler was being funded by Britain.
Whoa, that's crazy, bro. You're starting to sound like a Holocaust denier and a Hitler sympathizer. Cool it, buddy.
No. This is the difference between, right, like addressing the historical narrative from an objective point of view, a neutral point of view, evaluating both sides, and exposing the lies, and then having an affinity for Hitler and being fond of Nazis Germany.
Yeah, bro. Yesterday I asked you because you said Hitler is evil. I asked you in what context, and you accused me of having affinity for Nazi Germany and liking Hitler.
Bro,
Well, if he wasn't
clearly,
that bad,
bro,
what's
listen.
What's wrong with liking them?
It's fine, bro. But I'm the only reason I even brought this up is because in these servers, bro, you have rampant sympathizers for Nazis.
I'm a gay fan.
And then and I know that you liked some of those guys over there, so you're kind of getting defensive.
What
when I'm
guys?
Just
What
I'm
guys?
not gonna, I'm not gonna
Nazi
name drop them.
zombies.
Right? If the shoe fits, wear it.
Mhm.
But you know
You
that
can't
there's
find those
individuals.
guys, man. I've been
bro,
looking.
why are
I
you
asked
clipping
10
me, dude?
people yesterday.
See?
You're a liar.
Oh, here we go, dude. Here we
Yeah,
go.
you're a liar,
I
man.
can't have a conversation without you freaking out. This is how it started yesterday because you were calling me a liar when I'm simply pointing on observation. In both servers, you have Nazi sympathizers. They
What are you
can
talking
speak
about?
for
What?
I
themselves.
called you a liar because you lied.
They can speak for themselves. That not only do they have an affinity for Hitler, they're Nazi sympathizers.
All right, how about this? I asked Sam, he couldn't find anybody. I asked Andrew, he couldn't find anybody. I asked Taylor, she couldn't find anybody. I asked Dan, he couldn't find anybody. I asked Shane, Alan,
right
they
here.
couldn't find anybody.
I'm right
So
here.
who the fuck are you talking about? Or are you
Dude.
just lying?
Well, then no, they're lying. They're lying, dude.
Taylor's
So-
lying, Dan's lying, Sam's
No,
lying. You're
no,
saying all of
bro.
them are liars?
Bro, they can speak for
Yep.
themselves. They're in their chat right now, dude. What are you talking about? Let him.
Okay.
You'll
Got
hear
it.
it, dude. I'm not gonna name drop, dude.
That's gonna be another clip, man. You're getting clipped up again.
I don't
Clip
care what you
drop.
think, dude. Go
Yeah,
over
just
there,
stop.
bro. Go
Just
chill
stop
over there,
with
bro.
the lies, man. That's all I'm asking.
Bro,
Just stop
dude,
lying.
I'm not lying, dude. I'm not lying. There's extreme Holocaust deniers, bro.
Dude,
That
what
It's
you
a
is a
said
fact,
crock.
today was more extreme Holocaust denial than anything I've heard on that server since I've been there since June. What you
It's
said like 5 minutes ago about how you saw it, you don't believe the real history, that's more extreme Holocaust denial than I've heard on that server.
no,
I don't know what you're
no,
talking about, man. You're just a
there,
liar.
no, dude. There's one thing, right? To
Ooh.
say that that's okay. So I already told you I don't believe 6 million Jews were exterminated. Those numbers are exaggerated and embellished, right? The whole
Ooh.
narrative,
Who is
the
the
whole narrative
Holocaust
was
denier on that
embellished.
server? Just
That
say who, man.
It's
there's
me.
hold on, it's not yeah, exactly. So there's one thing, right? Because I also don't believe the numbers. So then saying that no Jews were exterminated.
Who?
That's
He said me.
to say that
Somebody
no
fucked
Jews
up.
were exterminated. That's extreme, dude.
Maybe
Extreme
one.
Holocaust denial.
They
Yeah,
didn't
who
kill any
said that
Jews,
on
they killed
Aether Cause, the
Christians.
people that you accused of
Hold
being
on.
Hitler sympathizers? Who
I'm
said
not,
that?
dude. I'm not gonna name drop them. You already know who they are, dude, and they know
I
who they
don't
are.
know who they are.
If they're denying it, that's on them, dude.
I
You know
don't
what
know
I
who
mean?
they
Anybody
are.
killed
If
the
you say I
Jews, it
know who
was
they
the
are,
Jews,
you're saying
man.
I'm lying. I'm not
Well,
lying.
hold on.
Who
So
are
hold
they?
on. Right now,
Lion, are you talking
let
about
people
me?
let
Are
people
you
step.
talking about
Yeah,
me?
listen. I don't. It's the thing is, like, I don't even care. That's your own beliefs. But to
Who?
deny that there are people like that in these servers, bro, is what I'm addressing here. You're denying that
Lion,
there's
who are
people
you
like that in
talking
our
about?
I'm
midst.
not denying it. I'm asking you who.
So, well, let the people speak for themselves. Anybody right now, come forward if you don't believe that
Yes,
any
No
Jews
Jews
were
died
killed.
in the Holocaust. Zero.
I
Yeah,
Yes,
no
believe
Jews
that
died.
too.
So right
so
there,
that's
there you
fine.
go.
You understand that
My
that's
point
retarded?
proven.
If you tell someone, hey man, like, look, Lion, I'm gonna say that you said the slave trade was the best thing that ever happened to black people, and if you
That's
don't
what I
deny
think.
it, if you don't deny it immediately, you're saying that it was. Do you
Stop,
understand
dude.
that that's a false dilemma?
Stop, dude. There's already people coming forth proving my point. So let them speak for themselves. Go ahead.
All this Holocaust stuff is a big crock of bananas. I don't
See,
believe it.
see. That's so. And I like. Listen, I like him, dude. I like Blob, dude. But that's what he believes, and I'm
So
simply
do
pointing
you
that
think
out. And I'm
Blob
being hold
represents
on, dude.
like a no,
I'm being
no,
demonized for
man,
pointing that out.
no.
I'd like to join the chat and say that it was Jews that killed Jews and it wasn't a Holocaust
Yep.
extermination.
Finally,
Yeah,
an
Lion,
honest
do you
person.
think that do you think that Blob represents a majority of Aether Cause or even a group of people on Aether Cause? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah, he represents
No,
the
he doesn't.
anti-truthers. Yeah,
Okay, and I didn't say
that's a
everybody
group of
over there.
people.
Did I say everybody over there? No. Why are you pigeonholing the conversation?
Yes, you did. You
No, I
said
didn't.
you've been hanging out there, you've been convinced they all believe the same shit. They think Hitler's a great guy. You did say that, so no more lies, please.
You
Was he
already
a
know,
bad
bro.
guy?
When I speak with exaggeration and hyperbole, if you can't pick that up in the conversation, dude, then you have some type of reading comprehension or
Okay,
understanding
so when you just said, did I
because
hang on? When you
when I
said,
in the
did I?
DMs when
Yeah,
I was
when you just said, did I say everybody over there? The answer was yes, you did say that, and if you say otherwise, you would be lying.
bro,
I don't know
Why
if
are
you have a
you
problem with
guys? Why are you
compulsive
guys
need to
lying,
letting
relax.
but
First
fake
of all,
you're a
events
liar.
get you
you need to
worked up
relax.
so
You need to
much?
relax. Just bring it down a tone because you're getting defensive because you're defending
Yeah,
people
let's
over
change
there,
the subject. You asked, did I say everyone over there? I pointed out that you did say
Stop,
that.
dude.
You lied.
Bro, you're a
You're not
mod, dude.
even
I
Jewish.
can't even get a word out, dude. Bro, my
Dude,
whole
if I
point.
let you go, you're gonna
Jesus
monologue and
Christ.
bulldoze and avoid the point. You lied, and you lied about lying. You're a liar.
Let me know when you're done, dude. Let me know when you're
Let me
done.
know when you address the point. You said, did I say everyone over there? I said yes. You said no. You did say that. You lied. You lied, and you
Dude.
lied about lying. You're a liar.
Bro, okay, so do I have to break down literary devices to you? And oratory
Yes.
expressions? Because when
That's
somebody
not a literary
says
device. You said they all believe the same shit. Did I say
listen,
everyone over there? Yes, you said everyone over there. They all believe the same shit.
Dude, bro, no, I didn't. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. You have no point, dude. No
Points,
point
you're
at
a
all.
liar, and I proved it. I proved it several times. You're a
No,
liar.
Lion's not
There's
lying.
people
Dude,
He's
you're
over
telling
there
you
hanging,
the
that
dude.
truth.
said there's even
Dude,
people
this
in
is
the
so
chat,
illogical.
and then
You're
the people in
hanging
the
the
chat
whole
spoke up and
conversation.
confirmed it.
You're hanging the whole conversation on the fact that I said everybody in Ether Cosmos is a Nazi sympathizer. I've never
Can't
said
find
that.
one.
And if you receive that, it's because you right now you're being willfully ignorant and you only want to hear what you want to hear. You don't want to hear what I'm actually trying to convey to you, which is there's something called hyperbole and is also being sarcastic. right? So when I'm conveying something into right now, like if I say, those guys think Hitler's a great guy, I don't need a sound clip of Alan or Shane or Witz is saying Hitler's a great guy to convey my point. I'm being sarcastic and I'm using hyperbole to convey a point. You get it?
This right here is
more than what you
exactly
said
what
today,
the
man.
Jews
It's a
want.
literary device, dude. Sarcasm and hyperbole are literary devices. Now you're taking my sarcasm and my hyperbole out of context because apparently either you don't know how to
No.
receive sarcasm,
No.
you have some type of autistic
No,
disability,
that's not what
or
I'm
you're
doing.
being willfully ignorant and
No,
misrepresenting
that's not what
my
I'm doing.
point.
Incorrect.
Do you,
You said
are you hold on? Do you suffer from Asperger's and you can't pick up on social cues?
no.
Hold up. Hey guys, hold up. Okay, so this live stream really isn't for, all of the interpersonal dramas and stuff. I understand like what you guys I'm listening just for the last minute here, but this is pretty heavy. You guys are getting into full blown just insults and stuff. I don't know if there's a way to maybe dial it back and I mean, you guys could talk offline or we could have a meeting offline about this if it's needed, but it's not really the place. I mean, is there some way to bring it? It's not really the place for just full on beefing is all I'm saying. So in that way, so is there some way to bring it back to some kind of topic? And if it's something else, we could talk offline about it.
Fine. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
I
trying
can
to
make
get
a
emotional.
connection
Yeah, we
here.
might need to do that. I mean, if someone's gonna lie about a whole server of people, we should probably deal with that, right?
Fine.
You guys aren't dropping it.
Why do Florida oranges? Why aren't they sweet anymore?
I don't know.
Refraction.
They replace the sugar with salt.
He said refraction.
Like if I say women are deceitful, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it's a
That's
general
not what you
statement.
did. Bro, we're not getting back
Bro,
into it. It's not
oh
what you
my
did.
God.
And then when I called you out for it, you just spew a bunch of insults, you gaslight and project on me. We can go down if you want to talk about it, but that's not what you did. You lied.
Dude, it's corny for you to like call me out on a technicality when it's speaking in general terms.
Technicality, you
That's
lied.
not
Yeah,
a defense,
man.
dude. That's not a defense, dude. That's not a defense. Sorry.
Your reputation lying, stands on its own. I don't think you have to address it any further.
All right, I respect that, Left.
Yeah, if
That's
you want to
fine.
talk about it in a side chat line, we can, but in my opinion, you
I'm
lied.
done, dude. I'm done. I don't care, bro. I really don't
Here's
care
a
what
good
you think.
segue. Is Major Rama 1 really a new form of matter?
A what?
Major Rama 1, this new quote unquote described form of matter that Microsoft developed for this quantum chip, right? They say they created a new form of matter. But then when you listen to it, it's just like a description of matter in between phases. It's really weird.
Never heard of it. So
Oh yeah, go
you'd
look
have
it
to
up.
expand
Major
on that more.
Rama 1. They said and then it's coincidental if you show the equipment that they use to make this, it's in a container. You need a container to make a new form of matter, just FYI. You need a container for everything, really, but yeah, it's called Major Rama 1. It's really weird.
Major Rama 1. I'll look it up.
So you're gonna look
Major
that up,
Rana,
but you're not
something
gonna
like
look up
that.
the
Yeah,
Bryce
Major Rana.
Mitchell
I think it's an
incident.
N, not an M.
Okay.
And then Microsoft won't elaborate on how it happened. What they just nothing. Hey guys, just FYI, we created a new state of matter, and it's claimed to be like in between phases. It's matter that are in between phases of changing into other matter. Some shit. I don't comprehend it.
This probably got to do with superpositioning stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely
quantum
using
computing,
it
right?
under their quantum umbrella to try to push their agenda of quantum.
I looked at it. Or it says that they like slice an electron in half.
They've had this shit forever, bro, and they fucking make toys to give to your children. It's called kinetic sand. This is new to you guys?
Yeah, this is brand new, bro. Major Rama 1.
Don't look like it.
We're
They've
coming
had
up with new
Play-Doh
stuff.
forever.
Yeah, kinetic sand is cool.
Damn
What do you
right.
mean that sand is stamped into form and then cook? Is that what you guys are talking about?
No, it's like Play-Doh, but it's sand.
It's magnetic sand with magnetic material.
Yeah, but what does this have to do with computing?
I don't know. That's where I got lost on that.
Absolutely nothing.
That's excellent question.
I think somebody thinks that this substance is akin to kinetic sand.
Yeah, that's
The
me.
kinetic sand, all it means is sand that's moving.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't my claim. I don't get it.
So the origin of this is from Microsoft, is what
Right.
I'm understanding, right?
Yeah, Microsoft. They use like super, super low temperatures and some, I think, solvents and some other shit and some, I don't know. It's really weird. Got
And
very, very
the
cold
purpose of
inside
it
that
is
small
for. I
chamber.
tried looking it up, but I'm not getting.
No, they
the
won't
correct-
release any information on it. They won't say how they did it. They won't elaborate on it. They
Well,
just
it's
made this
the
claim, said what it is, and then said that it's in a computer chip. Didn't say how
Can you
they.
drop a link to it or something? Because
probably
I'm not getting any
proprietary.
Google internet.
Is probably proprietary, so nobody else can use it.
Well, yeah,
You know what's
if it's
interesting? Have you
proprietary,
guys?
that would be an example, but I am not getting anything in
I
regards
mean,
to.
I'll drop the link from Microsoft from their website, but you know that's just their personal description.
Okay.
It's in there right now. 8:38.
Yeah, I got a little bit
Yeah,
of
I've
topic
seen
change.
this. Yeah.
I got a slight topic change if you guys are interested.
Go
in it.
Go ahead.
sir,
That's all I was
please,
doing.
Gio. Yes.
Well,
If
SE
it's
is
cool, we'll entertain it.
It's a question for SE. SE, you have $5 billion in your bank. Let's say right now, $5 billion. What do you do to help the world? Or what do you do with the $5 billion?
You would just be a
Pay,
savage.
5 billion.
pay tax at the end of the year.
$5 bill. You got $5 bill in the bank. Taxes are paid. Everything's good. You got $5 bill. A cool $5 bill. You're good to go. what are you
Hey,
gonna
the
do?
first
You
thing.
give the
Oh,
bank
yeah,
your
that's
interest rate.
easy. That's easy. I would use it to get rid of the lobbyists in the states. Number one.
It's not happening.
Not with $5 billion. That ain't enough.
That's a
Not
lot of
enough, huh?
assassination
You gotta
money.
up your
I see.
ante, Gio. You gotta up your ante.
Well, wait. So wait, you would do what? You would finance them, or you would create funds to try to lobby against them, or what? What do you tell me more? What you mean? Like you got the
Yeah,
$5
I
bill.
would
It's
try.
the
He's
first.
paying off Satanists.
Yeah, I would either try to go against, like, you know, when they put money for one opponent, I would try to put money on the other opponent, right? To either even
So
off
you're
the thing
wasting
or
all
try
your
to get
money in
rid of
fake
them.
politics.
I'll let him finish, man. Don't interrupt. You can go after him, but just please don't interrupt. Let him speak.
Well, yeah, it's fake. I agree with that, but yeah, that's what I would start, right? Because that's how they're controlling the most powerful entity that ever existed, the United States of America, and which projects power around the world, and we're having a lot of problems with that. So that's where I would start.
So you
And
wouldn't
that would
just buy
fix
a
a lot of
nuke,
things.
blow up the White
Sorry?
House.
I'd buy 3 Tesla robots and make them grow my weed so I don't have to do this shit anymore. And then I would invest all the rest of the money into a pyramid scheme of buying lottery tickets. That way nobody else will ever win the lottery and I'll just keep
Fuck
upping
yeah.
my bread.
Well, look, the obvious thing would be go and help the homeless, right? And, you know, start soup kitchens. That would be but that's not. You got to attack it at the source, right? That's why when he said that right away, the biggest problem in the U.S., I thought, was the lobbyists. So my head went right there. So if you tackle that,
So
you'll
fixing
have
the
like
problem is
billions
being
and
a part of the
billions of
problem.
dollars. Bro, why are you interrupting every time somebody speaks,
You're a
bro?
troll.
I'm a
So you
troll.
troll the troll. You can't troll the troll.
Just go on, SE. Go on.
Come on, one at a time, guys. Come on.
Yeah, so I was saying like attack the heart of the problem, right? So that's where I see the heart of the problem of today's problem lies right there, the lobbyists. And not just the Israeli lobbyists, right? You have the military lobbyists, the chemical lobbyists, the medical lobbyists. I think those are the things that the corporations that are against humanity, against the people. So that's where I would start.
If they're already bought off, then how are you going to compete with the people who print money?
Damn.
Look, it would take somebody smarter than me to figure out a plan, but with all that money, you know, I'm sure we can
We
get
could
a few
hire
heads
Elon.
together.
If
I
I
would
may.
hire Elon and Doge.
So Gio was asking a question, and that was in regards to if you had $5 billion of disposable income, what would you do with it in regards to trying to help humanity. Is that right,
Correct.
Gio?
Yeah, and anyone else could answer it too. Yeah, I just had mentioned it to SC. Just
Yeah, it's a very open-ended question. So if you had, let's say you had $50 billion in the bank, but you were going to use $5 billion of it to help humanity, what would you do with it?
I'd buy a yacht.
Now that's a troll right there.
I
Right?
would.
Well, I
I
mean,
got- I got
you
an
might want to
idea.
get you might want to get at least one yacht. I mean, at least. you
At
know.
least one. To
You
have
need at least one
operations from.
30-footer, bro.
we can all share like a 250-foot yacht. I mean, we can share it. I don't need my own, but I mean, you can have one. You know, at least one. You know, we got to have important meetings out in the middle of the ocean. You know, sometimes
I would go to Gaza and just rebuild it and make it really great again.
Oh,
Oh,
did you see the thing? The Trump Gaza
young Trump.
hotel and casino?
Yeah,
but
the
I feel like,
strange,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
what? Oh, sorry. If you're on that, okay. Well, we'll go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. If you-
No, I was just commenting. I thought that was extremely strange. Why would he call it the Gaza Hotel, especially with his allegiance to Israel?
Yeah, that's got to be the most subhuman thing I have ever seen in my life in war and politics. I mean, that's got to be the most cold-hearted thing.
It's
Like,
better
I know
than
he
the
didn't
Goyim
generate
in.
it, but to post it, you actually posted that? It's wow.
All right, but SE, I mean, would you, for example, would you build a rocket company to try to go to space? You know, because they claim you can civilian rocket company.
No.
Would you do that? Would you get a whole crew to try to get permits to get to the North Pole or Antarctica? You know, would you do like other tests? You know, like just in terms of testing of to get the truth out. Would you? I mean, there's like I don't know any of those things. Like, would you?
Oh, for our thing. Yeah. Well, that's easy. Yeah. Rocket and camera. That would be my first thing. First thing on the block. The most
Yeah, 'cause-
powerful rocket that I control, that I have a view. That would be my number one thing.
Yeah, I mean, whether like a whole rocket company, as it were, because I mean, they claim that, oh yeah, you go to space, and oh yeah, civilian. That's the thing. Like, are there any like good billionaires out there, that would actually do, actually try to, rather than just Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson, like these billionaires that are, there. But anyways, but like making like a rocket company would imply that like you actually can go to space versus just making rockets in general. But even for like less money than making a whole like rocket company, yeah, like even that Go Fast rocket or like amateur ones as it were. But even with some decent money, you could make something even more than amateur. To be able to really just see what's up. To really see literally what's up.
Yeah, that would be task number one. Absolutely. A rocket that I have the controls. I'm there. I'm watching the camera. Yeah, that would be task number one, to go high enough to see what the heck we're on. That would be my first thing.
So you do it as you build a rocket and you got your camera and all your specifications. You fly it up and you see curvature. What do you think will happen to you?
Well, then I would have to admit if I see, you mean, get out and say it straight. If I see a globe, right? El Globo, right? Is that what you're saying, Left Lane?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that it would carry weight in the community? Do you think it would help anything?
It would to me. It would to me, but I'm sure nobody would take my word for it. It would be like an Antarctic thing. But Gio asked me a specific question, right? So I think the number one thing is to go up high enough and to see what we're on, if it's possible.
Didn't we already figure
SE, can I
that-
give you another
that one out?
alternative? What if you could have an airship? Would you go for the rocket or would you build the airship?
Like a
Rocket
blimp?
all the way, rocket. Without a doubt.
Or maybe
Rocket.
both. You get the
I thought-
airship and then you launch a rocket from the airship once you're up there.
Fire.
If
I
I can have
like
both,
that.
yeah.
As possible. All this should be done as south as possible. Like set a high altitude balloon or launch a rocket or something from the deep south, from the Antarctic.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, there is obviously the whatever laws, regulations, and that's what would have to be kind of pushed on a little bit or pressed. So, and then some might feel like, okay, yeah, it's like a kamikaze mission. You might think like, because if you start, doing that. But so I guess some could say there could be risk involved, and it is kind of intense to even like imagine like you got the $5 billion. Are you gonna put some of that money to like have a crew that would be going to Antarctica or the North Pole or in some mission that might be risky? Because now it's like, wow, everyone's lives are maybe in danger. I mean, that depends on how how one views that, I guess. But anyways, yeah. But it is. But yeah, if you could be able to kind of push those boundaries of like trying to actually get the permits and because you can't. I mean, if you do something illegal, that's a different thing. Now they can arrest you and put you in jail. So that's the thing. Like, can you how far south can you go and launch up high altitude stuff that they're going to let you do?
And the question you're asking, Gio, I think is very good. It's a hypothetical, obviously, but $5 billion. That's a money amount that I can't even. I don't have that much money. But if I had that much
5,000, yeah, it's like 5,000 millions. So with 5,000 millions, yeah, yeah, exactly.
You broke it down.
It's disposable, which means you can spend it on anything you want. But what would you do with it in order to better humanity?
I have one.
I'd buy all the debt.
What about a
There's a
documentary?
company that 3D prints rockets. You guys ever see
Damn,
that?
why the fuck you interrupting me, dude?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Say it with your chest.
Go ahead,
All
though.
Yeah, a documentary about Hitler, right? And it's completely like saying he's a good guy, and I would hire like Leonardo DiCaprio, like Tom Hanks, like A-list actors to be in it, and they would be just reading lines, and it would be really good.
Well, that's kind of okay. That's an interesting way to frame it, but or kind of a certain way. I don't know that you'd get those guys to like obviously do that, but the point you bring up is interesting, like with tons of money, because like YouTube can censor you or something like that, right? They can block you or delete your channel and all that. But if you have the money to like you're talking about making movies and stuff, if you have the money to make movies, like the millions of dollars to make top level movies, can they censor you in that way? Like, okay, maybe what you're saying, that's pretty extreme. I don't know. That's pretty like that one. If you're going to, I mean, I know you're kind of half joking probably, but, or whatever that you're saying. But I mean, I'm just saying like you could put truth in movies and get it in front of a ton of people with the money is my point.
Right.
Like you can make movies. Like, yeah.
Like a real version of World War II, but like Lord of the Rings level production. And it's just completely saying that like Hitler was a good guy and the Nazis were the good guys, and like I would have Will Smith be Hitler or something.
But then you got to think of like what would the impact be on that, right? Like, because didn't they really do that with this On the Way to the Moon that just recently came out, right? They, tried to slip out the truth, but they made it satire and comedy, and like nobody fucking cared. And it kind of goes back to the question Left Lane had, right? Like, would that make an impact? And I feel like unless you did something to where laws were actually broken and there were consequences, then nobody would take it as, any type of real validation. You just get labeled as, in regards of like the FE conversation, if you're trying to find FE proof, more than likely you're just going to get labeled another shill and thrown.
No, it would just be like a good movie.
You could make a movie where, okay, the movie would be like, you could make it on like of what could be going on, but also like you could go off into speculation or other stuff where, the beginning of the movie could be like, all the humans are deceived that they live on a spinning ball, whatever. You could make like a whole like replay of it, but it could be like an actual, like with real truth though. Like you could actually have truth in there. And anyways, I'm just saying you could get it in front of millions of people. And I mean, I know what you're saying about that take me to the moon thing, but it's always been a little bit of a thing of like, oh, was the moon landing fake, kind of stage kind of thing. So that's like in the mainstream enough. And a lot of people already question the moon landing. So yeah, they did kind of reflect on that a little, but I'm talking about like if you could do like movies that is potential to have like truth, information, like educational as it were, information, and also getting information out there that like most people have never even seen, and do it in like an entertaining, interesting way that has never been done before. Even beyond what like documentaries have done, but like at a higher level with that much money.
You wouldn't even have to make it like documentary style. Like you could make just like an action movie, like an epic, like Braveheart, Lord of the Rings type movie, and
with Outer Ponders.
Well, yeah, a bunch of things.
Of course.
But with the Hitler,
Gotta
I
have
mean,
some outer ponders. I
with
don't know
Will
why you keep
Smith,
going back to Hitler, but there's so many other things. I don't know. I mean, I don't
I mean,
necessarily.
we were just talking
There's no
about
way
it.
that Hitler was a good guy at all. I mean, he was obviously a leader involved in all these lineages, so he obviously was not just
Maybe.
a good stand-up person. So that's kind of absurd.
He
How
would,
is this going to help
Will
humanity
Smith
again?
in the movie, if he was playing Hitler, he would be in whiteface. I'm just throwing that out there.
I believe you just interrupted me. How is this going to help humanity? This movie?
Well, he's trolling. I'm kind of talking. He's kind of doing. I don't know what he's doing, but I was talking about actually like making films that would be.
He's dead serious. He's not trolling. He's serious.
He's thinking it out as we're talking about it.
It's a good idea.
The Will Smith thing is funny, but I know you're trolling with that. But you really think Hitler was a good guy, right? Are you trolling?
Maybe he was trans. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's a whole different direction.
Yeah, he's definitely trolling us.
Is he still a good guy if he's trans?
Well, he's not a guy. If he's
Is
trans.
he a good girl if he's trans?
Probably a bad girl.
So SC, let me ask you this: like with the tests with the Earth stuff, like would you do them and put it all out public? You know, like doing like curvature tests and like the rocket results and stuff. Like again, 5 billion. You got 5 billion. So yeah, like would you be right out in the open with it? Would you just kind of do it more in the background and kind of do other stuff? Like to what level? Because I mean, that's some serious information, that has, world changing.
Good question, bro. There's only one way to do it: live. You do it live. I would broadcast it live wherever the chips fall. If it's a globe, 'tis globe. If it's something else, it's something else. Let the chips fall where they may.
I think it'd be cool
if the creator could make a ball of water in a vacuum. That's a majestic thing, but it's physically impossible. So I would have to see it.
I think you could pay Neil deGrasse Tyson to do a flat Earth debate.
No, he's already.
I would
been
debate
set
him
up,
tomorrow.
He refuses. I would set up some like flat Earth monuments, kind of like the Georgia Guidestones, but without all the Illuminati stuff. And it would just be like observation stations all over for long distance observations, and then have like on some little plaque, the Earth curvature calculator, and then just kind of little layman's terms for traveling people to see. Hey, look, this is just to prove the Earth is flat. Just cool little monuments everywhere.
No, dude, it's awesome you said that because we've actually talked about that for years, like that idea. Like in this cool, you said monument. Yeah, exactly. Like sites. And now there's a lot of different ways that could play out, but like basically sites where, like, again, let's say with the resources there, you could buy land and you could set these up. And whether they would have, like curvature, like there could be physical, tangible curvature tests. You could have like water measurements. You could have various things there, all kinds of things. There's a million options depending on how much land you have. And then there's even the idea of incorporating like that they could be like have like a spiritual component as well. And then there's many directions of that, but like, because that's even getting ancient too, like Earth measurement with the spiritual. I mean, you look at those pyramids and these other like Machu Picchu and these sites, like clearly they were using architecture with the Earth to create these like, spiritual kind of dynamics as well. So yeah, that even goes to.
It's weird you put it in that context, because then it like almost makes it make sense like that. That's probably what they were doing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
dude, that's the most ancient
that's what they
thing.
did.
That's what humans have been doing for eons of time. Exactly, dude. Using architecture and creating even the idea of the whole like old world and like the what they now use as churches, but that those used to actually be like maybe even like sound energy vibrating places that anyways, but yeah, it's really what humans have been doing since the dawn of time is like using architecture, building on the land, and then using that for some kind of spiritual connection, to nature and to things. Yeah. So to be able to.
Yeah, some large scale man dug out bodies of like land that could be filled with water with manual levers, to where you can show people like maybe a small lake, nothing too crazy, a really big pond or something, but where there's some type of manual levers where you can actually move the body of water and watch it go to the lower area and then still level, and just have different contours on the bottoms of the of the lake, different topography, just to show that the water's taking the shape of whatever the container it's in, but it's always measurable on top.
Did you hear what Dr. Shiva and
Yeah.
Flat Earth Dave was talking about? Getting together 10 flat earthers, 10 engineers, scientists, and surveyors, and engineers or whatever, to come up with a measurement to kind of settle the debate and have it published in a scientific paper.
Who was that again? That was making that initiative?
It's Flat Earth Dave and Dr. Shiva Ayaduri.
Dave White?
Ayaduri. Dave Weiss, yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Can you
yeah, a good measurement to do is using water and like a long distance. So like maybe 1 to 3 miles, where you have some measurable drop over distance using water and a straight line.
Wouldn't you prefer to see what you're on as a whole? Like, what could be better than going up?
Yeah, that's true.
Physical measurement. Everything optical has been refuted so far. So anything optical like that is always going to be refuted and have some sort of error, where you can actually take it to the ground and you can actually measure the ground, right? It hasn't been done yet.
Well,
Yeah, but
see,
you
I would
got
say
5
all of those
billion,
things
bro.
are good. Well, I mean, all of these things are good. I think there needs to be, it's like a multi-pronged approach to be able to have like it, the whole corroboration of evidence and the preponderance of evidence. So I think having like doing this all through multiple approaches, but like having those like sites or like monument sites. So if you had like several of those sites all around the world that had multiple physical setups and experiments and things that could be physically validated, that's when you could really start to change the paradigm of the world. Because basically at that point, like, scientists and professionals, whoever, can go to that site and see it physically themselves. So that's when you could actually start to see huge shifts happening.
And I bet if we put our brains to it, you could find a location inside like every major city, if not at least one in every state. That way it's easily accessible for all the population. It's not like you have to go on some vacation to see this stuff. No matter where you live, where you are in the US, no matter what state, no matter what elevation, there's going to be this thing where you can go to and see the proof.
Can I just talk to SE's point, or like what he was saying about flying up into the sky? Just like say we were able to get this measurement published in a scientific paper, and they decided to go with SE's observation. That would have been like to me, that would be a missed opportunity for a physical Earth measurement, and it would be like another trip to Antarctica, really, if that's what they did and decided to do anything flying around or things other people can't do. Like a physical measurement, other people can reproduce and recreate easily.
You guys remember the Brian Mullen experiment thing that he had?
Yeah, but I don't think
Cells over a distance, and you have two
Fourth line.
different.
Yeah, hold
Yeah.
on. We can move to that, but hold on.
That
But
would
just
work.
but
You
I
do
don't
that
think
with 5 billion.
I don't think SE said not to do the ground measurements. I think he was also just saying going up seems to be. I mean, what SE you would say in the top 5 things to do? Maybe I would think.
Yeah. I'm not saying not to do anything. Yeah, I'm saying if you had like one thing to do, right? Which would be the best? I get, but the measurement is good too. But to me, seeing the whole, like what we're on in the entirety, I would say that that's the top for me personally. But yeah, measurement, of course, if you get something solid, yeah, I'm not against any of that.
Okay, no problem.
Like,
Yeah, but it
think
has to be
about it. An actual picture or video of high altitude of us, like you, me, we're there in a room. We know the rocket, we know the camera, we've tested it, we've seen it, right? We have multiple cameras. I mean, I don't think anything could beat that.
But that's also, again, I see what he's saying. It's just your personal experience. Like, you can't send everybody up to experience that. So it's going to be your word and your, documentation versus everyone else's experiences down here.
How about a live feed? Wouldn't that work? A live feed?
Yeah, a live feed always works.
Okay,
For
NASA.
sure.
Like, I'm talking about everybody. Like, you get
quote unquote flat earthers, you get quote unquote truthers, concavers, ballers, scientists, like religious leaders, everybody. You got 5 billion, you invite them over, you have a big buffet, you got music, you got coffee, you got, you know what I'm saying?
You're thinking
Everybody.
too hard, bro. You don't need 5 billion to prove the
You
Earth is
gotta
flat.
think big, bro. You gotta think big.
Yeah, but you're just wasting money on bullshit. You could spend like 20K on some wood and prove the Earth is flat.
Really?
Dude would rather spend his money on Will Smith.
So I would propose like us do
Strong
a ground measurement for sure over
Well, the movie is a good
the
idea.
observation, because it's just
How about
like
if I tell you, all you need is a water level, but nobody will believe it. All you need is a water level and a
No,
theodolite.
you need a live feed.
So you wouldn't like if you had 5 billion and you're able to build a rocket. You wouldn't want to do
No.
that? Okay. You can do. I
Like,
don't know.
I'll-
Make.
I'm
I'd be like the
definitely
10th,
afraid of heights. I'm
15th
not
thing I
going
did.
anywhere.
Oh yeah, of course, Essie. I would say absolutely. Also, even being able to try to replicate what August Picard did as well to go up physically.
Yeah.
It all
bro.
depends on the amount of money you have, because that's what I'm saying. That's why like 5 billion. I mean, that's 5,000 millions. So I mean, you think what you could do with 1 million, 5 million, 100 million, and that's 5,000 of them. So even if you only used half of them, you used 2,500 millions. Even if you just quote unquote just did that. That is a tremendous amount to do all kinds of things. So yeah, like could we build a capsule and actually go up high physically with as well? We'll make our own ISS.
Yeah,
Has
no, I'm talking
anybody looked?
velocity, Geo. Escape velocity. We're going way past the ISS. We're waving like a handkerchief at the ISS. See ya.
I know, and they say that I know, and they say they launch these satellites. Okay, well, how about we have the money? We're going to launch our own satellites. You say that's how we do it, right? We know the math. We know we'll all build it all ourselves. We'll do our own equipment, so we don't have to depend on NASA. That's the thing. See, if you start pushing that, though, see, there's no, as anyone's aware of, there's no like good billionaires. Like, there's no billionaires that, let alone that know about a lot of the truth and what needs to be done. Let alone that, it just doesn't exist as of yet. But that doesn't mean it never will. And the thing is, if there's going to be a massive shift, clearly the money and resources are going to be needed. So, how that's all going to unfold, will be what it is. But I mean, that it's really the only thing that would give us a chance, of course, because without it, it's pretty tough. I mean, the big social media companies, the censorship, the limited ability to do the tests and things that are needed, the limited ability to crack into the mainstream, science world with a lot of things. So, yeah, but that's why, it's, on that level of it. But anyways, but in terms of like 2,500 millions, back to that, just to finish on that. Yeah, like you could build a capsule, or even try to, if they, put your own satellite in space, or even go to space if they claim it's real, or see that it isn't real. And so since there's no like good billionaires that are actually doing that, if there was one that was, what would they do? Would they let us, see what the limit is, or would they actually stop us in some way? But yeah.
Joe, can you hear me?
so
Joe,
SE
can you-
if
Yeah, we all hear you.
so
Okay, cool.
SE if we get $20,000, say, like, because what's his name, Will Duffy already agreed that if we can get 50 flat earthers to agree to a measurement, he would fund it. Like, what would you want scientifically, validated, or like recorded or published? What kind of measurement?
Measure this, dude.
That's easy. That's easy. A straight line segment.
Perfect.
Straight line segment.
So I started like a petition to for flat earthers to sign, just to get that going, because it is important, right? Like exactly what you said, like a straight line over distance. And I
wouldn't be trusting Will Duffy myself at all. So
No,
I
it's
wouldn't
not.
be involved. I just wouldn't even.
Yeah. No, I
I
get
second
too.
that. Yeah.
If
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
just paid Kanye West to say the Earth is flat, like you gave him $1 million for like a 30-second video, that would do more than this live feed thing you're talking about.
No, that is a thing. You can like pay Snoop Dogg to like tweet something for you. So yeah, exactly. With the money, you could exactly. And that's to reach a ton of people. But even just doing like paid marketing, like YouTube AdWords and stuff, you can reach millions of people with money. I mean, you can.
That would be more non-evidence though.
But do you
What if
think
we paid-
Kanye
what
is
if
going to
we-
be like beneficial for your movement? Like anybody's going
Yes,
to take
absolutely.
Kanye West serious?
Yeah, he's a genius musician. Yeah.
Genius musician. So we
He
can trust
literally
Nazi shirts.
worships Hitler, and everybody still loves him.
Yeah.
So-
I think Kanye's a little loopy myself.
So SC, you're talking about a straight line segment that that would have to be like put up next to water.
Yes, exactly. You're exactly, Gio. Over a canal or a calm body of water. The best I would say is a canal. That'll put everything to rest.
What if you?
I got a question for Gio and SE, both, or I don't know which one. You said, SE, you said you want to build a rocket to go up, correct? Oh, that's what I would probably. That's what I would I would second that. I would say that's what I would probably do myself. If I had that kind of money to just, like you said, if you can see it as a whole, I mean, anything that comes after would be pointless. But here's the question. Gio said you / flat earthers would build that rocket, correct? Or did I misunderstood? Is that your plan?
Would build a rocket? You said.
Yeah. I think you said you want to build a rocket yourself. You don't want to rely on NASA or anyone else. You want to build it yourself to go up, correct?
Yeah. So this was like
not you. But I mean, as in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, you have $5 billion in your bank account, so that type of money. So, yeah, like you could build your own rocket company, your own space company, as it were, quote unquote, or even just or amateur level, but even a bit more advanced than amateur, better than the Go Fast rocket. So, yeah, I mean, with $5 billion, that was one of the things SE first said is, being able to, yeah.
Here's
Can I say what I would do?
I think hang on. I think my question is this. In order to send a rocket up, okay, you need to use certain math. You need to use globe math. You need to calculate the trajectory. You need to calculate. Okay, this rocket is going to go up. Okay,
let's just say we took 500 million and we made our own space company, all of that, like you're saying, the rockets, the everything, and all the math, we did it all. The thing is, we would put that to the test and see, do we actually go into outer space and of course see a globe, but can we get to space ourselves with our own funding? Yeah. So
if you believe there's a dome, I don't think you're going to be trying to go kill yourself, right? So this whole building a rocket thing is insane.
Well, we would find
it's
either
proving that you guys aren't really flat earthers.
We would find that there's either.
Oh, you got us, bro.
Hold up.
I did.
All right, hold up. So let's just stay on the topic. So no, we would be able to see if there's a limit, or if what happened. The globe claim, of course, is that you go into outer space, et cetera, and you start orbiting around. You start free falling around a ball. So if that was the case with independent funding and everything, would the governments, as it were, even let you do it? But yeah, Hammerize, yeah. So that's kind of what we're discussing. So. What did you want to say on that? Like in terms of like building our own.
I was gonna say if that's the case, then as long as you go up, as soon as you reach the space, the whole argument is completely gone. Don't you agree? And Earth is not flat.
It's either you die or the Earth is a ball.
Wait, you're saying okay. Well, there's the measurements of the ground, but what you're saying is that if that was a thing, one builds their own rocket, they go into outer space, orbit around a massive ball. You're saying that would put an end to it if you're orbiting around a massive ball. Is that what you're?
I mean, from almost. I'm not saying all the but from as an example, if you look at the from distance, okay, you're not going to see all the continents. I mean, that's pretty much game over. That's pretty much done.
Well, you would only see.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
No matter how
it's
high
like a litmus test.
Yeah, and like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, like, if we have attenuation of the light, say the sun, and you go up in the daytime, the light's only going to go so far, say 39, 59 is the limit of that reach. You have to go up. All you're going to see is 39, 59 in every direction. It doesn't matter how high you're going to go up. It's going to look like a spherical world. It might, just because of the attenuation and the say the light source is circular and the light rays are projecting a circular shadow, like the Terminator line. So yeah, it's going to be up to that, right? Further, and then you'll get to that point and you'll be like, oh, we have to do more tests and more things, and we have to go, circle around this thing that's making the light come, the sun, right?
So
On
you're
and on
saying
and on.
that
I hear you. I
if you
hear
get
you
up
on
there,
that. So you would never see the whole thing because only part of it has the sun. The other part's nighttime. And then even on a planar surface, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you would not be able to see the whole thing. A massive extended plane for just the atmosphere itself and just the occlusion of light, and then the fact that only like part of the plane would be lit up by the sun, the other part being nighttime. Of course, on a globe, you're only going to see half of it as well. So in either way, you're really only going to see half of it at best. So I hear what you're saying, but there is a major difference of a stationary plane and going up at altitude and either probing something and having all those physics or hitting something or whatever may be, there versus, or if you get into a thicker medium or there's something like that versus what they claimed on the globe, So it would, I mean, if you're free falling around a ball, how and you're also like floating the way they do in the ISS and you're going around a whole ball. That's what he's saying. I mean, is there any way that could be construed for just seeing half of a planar surface? Although I do hear what you're saying. You are kind of seeing in a circle, so there's also that like hula hoop effect because you're seeing in a circle as well.
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I was going to say earlier, not to be too much of a skeptic, but like when we mentioned Picard, do we have any verification of where he launched at, like his coordinates? Because with what we just said, depending on where he was, he wouldn't have seen that upturned edge like he claimed. So
Let
that's
me put this question
to.
to. This is the mother of all questions, I think, to flat earthers, right? Okay, the Earth is flat, right? Now let's say this thing of ours, we have 5 billion. We build a rocket and we go up, right? What shape would you expect to see? Now, don't say flat because flat is not a shape, right? What do you expect to see, if anything? Or don't even answer the question. You don't
Of
have
doing
to.
what? Going up at altitude?
Yeah. Like if it's not a ball, right? If it's not the fantasy sphere, what do you like? Do you envision a shape?
Okay, I'll jump in and other people can answer it as well. By the way, Auguste Picard, it was from Germany, Augsburg, Germany, 1931. So you were asking where he launched from. So
Okay, thank you.
but I mean, it says here he got to 51,000 feet. So that's not really that high I mean, there's airplanes that go higher and whatnot, but nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. SE, well, yeah, I mean, and then he kind of said the upturned edges thing. Well, okay, so from the perspective that the Earth is a massive extended plane, I mean, just on and on and on, and the size of it, who even knows? So from that, the thing is, when you go up at altitude, you're only going to see a portion of it, like I was saying before. So, I mean, what would you expect to see? Well, I mean, there would be like, it does seem like what we see in the high altitude footage. You see the blackness of the sky, you see, the ground ramping up, and then there's a lot of fading, in that way. But because, I mean, going up on a massive planar surface, like you're only going to see a portion of it. But that's the question, like, could you go higher and actually see more, or is there a limit? And even if you go higher, is there a limit anyways, just because of the occlusion of light and just the atmosphere in general, that even if you go even higher, it doesn't even necessarily let you see that much more than what you can, just because of our limited, just our limited capacity to perceive on such a massive, surface, and only having a limited range and that limit. Meaning that in that way, like maybe you could never see the whole thing ever, unless you're out of your body, but like in a body, there may just be a certain limit to where you can't really see the whole thing. Of course, that way you couldn't really well, the one thing you could falsify the globe claim by not orbiting around a globe, but I mean, to get the full shape of it only from high altitude, just because of that limitation, probably getting the measurements on the ground are always going to be really good to have.
Another question, Gio, another question for you. So let's say you set up this company and everything works. Okay, so you start, you like to say you hire a team, and let's say there's a math which explains how to go up. Okay, put it this way. Okay, and you're not going to use globe math at the beginning. Just to say, okay, you know what, you're not going to use globe math. You're going to come up with some sort of math which will allow us to go up. Okay.
No, we could do both. We could do both. We could
Can't
do
you
both.
just go up in a rocket and not have math?
No, but you need to.
Yeah,
It's
level
not
up.
like just you can go
Yeah.
up straight away and that's
Rest.
it. It doesn't work that way. As you know, that's where you have a trajectory. That's where you kind of a parabolic. Anyway, you go up and boom, nothing happens. Okay, and fails. Would that show indicate quite soon before even going up? Say, okay, shit, hang on. Use this math, which we thought we should work on a flat Earth. Hang on, it's not working. And then you use the globe math. Okay, use the math we use, and suddenly things are working now. Well, that's
What's working?
immediately indicates, as in, like, you do a test, do the test pilot, and go, oh, okay, actually, you know what? I can stand things up now. It's actually going up.
Why would it not work? I don't understand.
And we're going off
So-
topic, I think, though, a bit. We're talking about.
Well, no, I hear
let's
what
say
he's
you can
saying.
go
I
up.
mean, yeah, okay. So let's just say right now, of that 5 billion, we took, like I said, probably like 500 million, and then we create, and just hire everyone we need, do everything we need to. Yeah, the globe has a particular claim in terms of, escape velocity and the exit angle and everything that you have to do in order to start orbiting around what they're claiming the ball Earth. So with all the equipment, we could replicate exactly what they claim in terms of NASA, SpaceX, whatever, and see if we could replicate that and actually start orbiting around a ball. Now, if that was the case, okay, we'd be validating that. We would be confirming it's the case. We would be the first people, like, independently, outside of like this Elon Musk and all these other guys. We'd be the first people to do it. It would be confirmed. I guess we'd be the first ones to do civilian space travel, since no one else is really seemingly to do it. But anyway, so then that would be that. However, if that's not the case, then you're not going to orbit and start free falling around a ball. And then what does actually happen? So with a stationary planar Earth, obviously, like, there would be a limit. There would be some limit. Either you can't go any higher because of pressure or something like that, or there would be either something physical are really the options. Like, there's like just a limit of how high you can actually just propel and or like pressure. So that's a very different outcome than free falling around a ball. So you'd be able to isolate and validate which is the case.
What if you had a vehicle that was much more like autonomous? Like what if you took the 5 billion and you made a suit that basically you could become a dictator with, like an Iron Man suit, and then you just use that.
All right, dude.
Hey, we're gonna let this guy troll us. Or
Yeah,
what?
let's.
It's
Yeah,
not
I
a
know,
bad idea.
for real, dude.
How's that a
Don't you
troll?
Let's let. I was Hammerize. Go ahead if you want to respond to what I'd said.
No one can say no to someone like that.
No, sure. But I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I fully get what you're saying. Okay, my question is, my question is at the very beginning. Okay, the reason I asked was because as well, actually, you kind of mentioned it. You say using globe math versus using the other sort of math. So my question was, if you try your own math, your own version of math, your own version of calculations, and if things are not working, then that indicate, hang on, we tried this, so this math is not working. Okay, but I said that math is the flat Earth math. Math.
I don't know what you mean by
Does that
flat
make
Earth
sense?
math, because I mean, on a stationary surface, if you launch something up, it's just what angle, how much propellant, what angle you're shooting it at, and that's it.
Okay,
So, but the globe one is
correct.
the one that claims that you have to use free fall around a ball.
Exactly. So that's my point. So when you do those sort of things and you do a test, you do your first test, things are not working. Okay, would that not be indicated? So you know what? We didn't use globe math. We didn't use any complicated or complex calculations which we have to do, and you just use a simple math. And shit, this is not working. Would that not be quite an indicator of, here's a problem?
I
Why
think
are
I'm
you going
following
to
what
math?
you're saying. I mean, if you're saying that, like, if we didn't, okay, what I'm kind of thinking the way you're saying it, of course, like, if we didn't use the globe math and then we didn't free fall around a ball, we shot stuff up there and it just came down or it bounced off or whatever, but we didn't hit a physical limit. Then we all of a sudden did the globe math, plugged it all in, and that was the key that unlocked it. Now all of a sudden we're free falling around a ball. I mean, I understand why you would say that, because it is like your perspective and then that, that kind of conclusion. But if you're asking, like, if that was the case, then that would be, it would be validating it independently and not on the space agency.
Okay.
I
that's
think
it.
he's
Thank you.
just trolling or something.
or not dependent on government space agencies. I mean, if that's what you're saying, like that outcome, I'm fine to do a hypothetical. Like that's fine just to play it out. Like, that's what you're saying? Like if we discover that we discovered that we could put a rocket and then basically do what the ISS is doing and 250 miles and go around the globe ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much. No, that's the answer. Yeah, cheers, man.
Okay, well, what about my point about having a more autonomous vehicle like a suit, and then you don't need any math, and then you just go up and you just look? What about that?
Yeah, but Hammer Eyes, what about on the other side though? What if we plug in all the globe math and we don't start free falling around a ball? What if we launch stuff up and we're reaching a liquid or a very like impenetrable pressure layer or something of this nature, and none of the globe math is making us free fall around a ball? What about how about that result if you see it from the other side?
And obviously, Houston, we have a problem. you know.
Yeah, if you,
what if we hit a superfluid? Shout out
Oh,
Rakita.
well,
that on Earth.
Yeah, the thing is, those are fail criteria. If you shoot it up to 250 miles high and you accelerate it to 17,500 miles an hour, and it orbits, that's one thing. But if you shoot it up there and you're not able to maintain an orbit, or I don't know, what would it just go up and come down? I don't know. So yeah, there's fail criteria on both sides.
What are the laws right now? Like again, we have $5 billion, so it's like the money is just not even a blockage. I would think that'd be enough. I mean, if you need to make it 50 billion, make it 50. But like, if the money is just literally no blockage, like, what are the laws right now? I kind of know this, but I'm also just asking it rhetorically. I know parts of it, but I don't know if I know every detail because maybe different countries. But like with the money, can you just basically build your own space station and orbit it around the alleged globe?
I don't think so. It's got to be all kinds of FAA permits and safety rules, and probably put you out of business real quick.
It would be a lot of you would space itself doesn't, no one owns it, so it doesn't. I don't think anyone would say why are you going to space, but there will be safety and regulations. But as a private company, nothing's stopping you. The only aspect of it would be the military use case of it. I.e., they said, okay, is this a research? Is this military? You see what I mean? That's the only part of it. And if you're sending a satellite, then probably that would be problematic.
See, okay, so that was kind of both sides. He said on one level, oh no, there's nothing restricting you, you can just do it. But then it's like, all right, if you're going to mess with like, some of the satellites areas and stuff. So which one is it? Like, because you said no one owns space. By the way, they do have a space treaty, just like they have an Antarctic treaty. There's a space treaty. And we were reading it one day. It is a knee slapper. I mean, we were just it says at one point, it's like, basically it says like, you are not allowed to go to another planet and set up shop there. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, you leave the whole globe and they still police you on other planets. They don't let you set up shop somewhere else. Like, God, the Illuminati just follows you all over the galaxy with their space treaties.
To control everything.
Even though, like, you got off the ball, you're out of there. You think you're out of the Matrix? Nope, they're like gonna come and give you a ticket on another planet. It's funny.
That's ours too. Yeah.
So you can't build like it's, if they see it as like a weapon, then they're gonna tell you can't do it or whatever.
Well, you would think that, of course, if you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna put a tank up in the sky to blow up the ISS or something crazy. Well, that's the thing. But what level would they let you do this stuff though? Like, obviously, if you're not doing anything like that or anything illegal in those ways, but if you just wanted to like be an independent, make your own, like, let's just say a much smaller space station, like it doesn't have to be as big as their ISS thing, just one little capsule one, and you want to just make it for you and your friends, so you can just go up there. Are they going to let you do it? Meaning there's no guns, there's no bombs, there's no missiles, or nothing crazy, just like your own small little space capsule.
What if like it's only for one person?
Well, I suspect they would also not want you to like crash into other satellites and have the debris rain down on civilians. Like, there's probably safety issues as well.
I know. So then would they just never let you do it?
No, you would probably have to like coordinate with them some safe trajectory and like launch times and stuff like that. I suspect, I mean, Elon Musk was able to do it, and seems like he's working on reducing some of the regulations around it. So I suspect they would let you do it, but it would be a lot of paperwork.
If you tried to do it and they just stopped you at every turn, I think like when the Iron Man movie came out, I saw this video where they went to these like people in the military, and they were asking them like, how realistic is the Iron Man technology? And they were saying that they could build something very similar to that. And that was in like 2007 or whatever. So I think like building a suit would be a viable option. I mean, I don't know. It's not a troll.
All right. I'm down with an Iron Man suit. Yeah, I mean that
It
would
would
be one
be
thing. With $5 billion, that would probably be one thing you might want to throw a few mil at. Try to make some cool suits and stuff.
Yeah, I put the space treaty one for you. Like I said, I don't think it's. I don't know where you saw that, but I put the key principle is peaceful use. Like I said, no weapons, of course, and yeah, pretty much that's it. You know, and no ownership. No ownership claims. No one can say, yeah, you know, this is mine or that's mine or that it belongs to me or that belongs to me. That's what I remember. I don't know where this setting up shops. That would be interesting though. So if I can if I can create a machine, go up and set up a McDonald's in Moon, can I do it? Is that not possible? I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know that I've actually looked into like all of the laws, although I have looked into a good number of them. This website right here, it's called the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. UNOOSA.org. This is the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. And this right here is the Treaty on Principles Governing the Activities of States in the Exploration and Use of Outer Space, including the Moon and other celestial bodies. This was first, the Outer Space Treaty was considered by the Legal Subcommittee in 1966. An agreement was reached in the General Assembly in the same year. The treaty was largely based on the Declaration of Legal Principles governing the activity of states in the exploration and use of outer space, et cetera, et cetera. So, and yeah, one of these does talk about that you can't go to other planets and set up shop there, basically, in a nutshell. But I could find the exact wording of that. But we were reading it one day. It was pretty entertaining.
I put it in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat if anyone is interested. Yeah.
What about McDonald's on the moon?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to set up a shop there. They're not letting me.
Dude, you're gonna have to bring so much meat, and who's
I
gonna
know, man.
buy it? That's not realistic.
Now that I think about it, I'm
You
pretty
think
sure,
meat?
like Musk's company, and possibly even NASA would probably subcontract stuff. Like they'll send stuff out there for you. I'm pretty sure if you have enough money. Unless the objective is to like have a camera recording the entire time you're rising, but just to have something up there, like you put some instruments on there that you can confirm you're actually talking to the thing. That might be one way to do it.
I remember reading, jokes aside, I remember reading this article. I'm trying to find it. I know Amazon is trying to, or Amazon was thinking of setting up data centers in the moon, and they're still thinking about it. The reasoning is cooling would be, problem solved plus electricity. They will have plenty up there. They were thinking setting up. The only problem they had was the maintenance of it, and also communication speed. But I know they were talking about it. I'm trying to find the article.
Well, I mean, dude, it just doesn't seem. Sorry, my mind's still kind of. I mean, it just doesn't. My mind's still back a little bit. Sorry if this is jumping, but I mean, feel free to continue on what you're on too. But I just was going to say, like, why is it so limited? Like, you would think at this point somebody would have done this. Like, is it really that difficult? I mean, I'm talking about $5 billion, but even if someone had like maybe 100 million or even 50 million, like, to be able just to get to space, like, why? If we're on this big ball and all of this, why is it so? Anyways, it's so locked down to like only these governments that are really doing it, and like nobody. I know there's the Elon Musk stuff, but I mean, come on, let's be real. Like, why aren't we in space?
Welcome to Flat Earth, you damn conspiracy theorist.
Like, what is going on? Why haven't we just popped out there? Like, we're humans. If we could
They
go
haven't-
there, we'd be popping out every day.
We need to churn
Are
out
you
suits.
penguin prejudiced? I detect, Gio, you're penguin prejudiced. Man. That's bad.
What, you mean the space penguins that are also protecting space?
Yeah. It's like, who would be against protecting those beautiful, innocent penguins? Of course, man shouldn't go there.
Well,
Come
because
on.
talking about this, we're saying that we'd be the first people to ever do it. And we're saying like, is it even legal, like with their treaties and all this stuff? Meaning, like what I'm just referring to is our own rocket, all with the regulations or whatever safety and all that. And then we want to put up our own little space station. We want to orbit around the ball. We just want to go with our friends, maybe 5 people in the station at a time. We just want to go back and forth. That's it. We're not going to crash into any satellites. Like there might, if we have to sign like or get insurance or whatever. And why hasn't anyone done that? But if we were to do it, we'd be the first to ever do it. And of course, if we tried to do it and we found that it can't happen, that is massively exposing their whole thing. And whether they would even let us do it or whether they would, and maybe at that point they're kind of losing control anyways.
Because that's the first-hand true knowledge you'll get, and so it's the most important to gatekeep.
Because I think if there's going to be a huge shift, like in my viewpoint, I know it's kind of shifting a little bit, but I'll just say this briefly, like from the perspective of like the source of all creation, that's like that this is all unfolding. There would have to be, if there's going to be a shift away from like, maybe they want to take it into whatever NWO kind of a much darker, more controlled future. But is that actually what the larger creation has in store? Because if it is, then okay, we're just going to be kind of headed probably into more control, more limitation, more suffering, more poisoning, all of that, unfortunately. But if at the same time, on the other hand of it, if this is all meant to shift, then like those power structures would have to kind of probably like in a way dissolve on their own, because I don't think we're gonna like beat them with like some bigger military or anything like that. And I'm not wanting to do anything violent or anything either. So it's like something would have to happen and like them crumbling. But like what I'm trying to say is that like maybe a lot of things they will just allow to happen because they're going to be so busy on other stuff, and then those things that they will allow to happen will. What I'm saying is that, like, from the perspective that we're free to basically do, as long as we're doing everything legally, they're really not going to come after us. Because, I mean, that would be the best case if we can actually be able to try to put a rocket in space, if that's what they claim, or, whatever we can do in Antarctica, the North Pole, and not worry that they're going to, like, take us out kind of thing. Because that's really what would have to happen, because we'd have to discover some major things, and we can't be stopped.
Well, like, how much damage do you think, like, realistically, with 5 billion? Like, if you hired a bunch of like mercenaries or whatever, like what could you really get done with that? $5 billion worth of mercenaries, and you like strategize and stuff. I mean,
I have no idea, but we talked about like we talked about the wild idea. If you had enough money, could you like basically get your own country? Like, could you go to some other country and then like buy up so much of it or something where you could end up like having your own country?
Probably could.
How about buying an icebreaker? How much does an icebreaker cost?
The Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. How about that? Exactly, that whole quest. See, my point is though, is like if the creator like is like on the higher level is that this is all going to happen, then they're not going to come and like just take us out. Like as long as we're legal. So yeah, dude, can we get an icebreaker and get the permits and go to Antarctica, set up our own camp?
Keep heading south. That's what I would do in that scenario, right? Get an icebreaker and all the accompanying things that you need, and just head south. See what happens.
You mean like in a boat?
And north, and fly over the north
definitely
and south too. Fly over. That's not even that expensive. I mean, they say you can fly over the north. Really, guys? All right, let's go. Let's actually fly over the north and the south, if they claim that those can both be done.
Pull off an Operation Broken Compass.
Because I'm not doubting you can fly over the. Yeah, I'm not doubting you can fly over the north, but at the same time, what do the stars actually look like? Can you get under Polaris? And what is actually
That's
there?
another thing. A flight around, circumnavigate, quote unquote. That would be another thing you can do with the 5 billion easily, right? If you can rent a plane, but are you going to get shot down? Are you going to this? Are you going to that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, you could circumnavigate at like the 60-degree parallel south, or if they would just like, what do you have to do for them to let us like circumnavigate Antarctica just in the water, even if we don't get on the land? We just want to go in the water because they have their 60-degree south thing, but like, it seems like that's within the range of what they should let you do, right? If you really wanted to circumnavigate Antarctica.
Well, that you can do with a jet. You can refuel. You can have the refueling planes, meet you along the way. That could easily be done by a billionaire. Easily.
If there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to shut down.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and you could just, I've talked about measuring the distances in the South as well. I mean, now we're going off on all these other ones too, but like traveling like from, South America over to New Zealand, and then from, New Zealand, Australia over to South Africa, and make that whole route and measure that distance. Yeah. With a billionaire easily could do that you don't even need the icebreaker for that. You just need a good ship and a way to measure some distance.
Yeah, that would be the easiest actually. Plane with refueling capability. Yeah.
Then we could actually follow the path of the sun and track that all with the Earth. Dude, there's so many things we could do. That's what I'm saying. The only way is that the powers that be we would have to just be able to have free reign. As long as we don't do anything illegal. Like, I'm not talking about doing illegal stuff at all. Like, all would be legal in that way, and all that. But that would be the only way, that we would pretty much have free reign, meaning like they're not going to take us out, and that's it. And as long as we're doing it legally and have the funds, because I mean maybe we won't be able to do everything, like they're probably not going to let us. Who knows where we'll be stopped? But
I think the easiest thing we can do right here, terra firma, is a straight line segment. I think that's the easiest thing we can do without getting shot, or you know what I mean, or you know what I'm saying. That would be the easiest thing to do, a straight line segment over a body of water, a calm body of water.
Should I say it?
Yeah, that's
Or,
more.
Daegun?
That's more of the realms that I'll want to be involved in, because, dude, I don't think I'll be doing any of those explorations. It is basically, I do think it could be putting your life at risk, because there is military, and who knows? I mean, you might just be, yeah, who knows? You might just get a bullet from the sky. That could be a problem. So, yeah, I'm not saying that will happen, but I mean, it is kind of like, I mean, don't you agree that's like a calculated risk if you're going to start poking around in the north or in the south?
Absolutely.
Even if you get the permits, I don't even trust it. So that's like a possible risk. But yeah, doing like a straight line test right on the Earth, or to be able to, yeah, that would be paradigm shifting if it's tangible and not optical.
Yeah, very simple, very cheap. What Rumpus wanted to do was great, but Rumpus disappeared, right? That's too bad, because he was talking about it for years, and he was supposed to do a live thing with me and show us the station, explain he had the 7 stations, and explain, how it would be done, but he disappeared. That would be a great thing to do, actually. You guys remember
another one with
Rumpus's
this
idea?
another one with this amount of funds is we could also do all the stuff with the interferometry that we want to do, like buy the most expensive interferometers that we could possibly find. We could build our own LIGO if we wanted, like a vacuum chamber. We could build our own. That there's nothing illegal about that. I mean, there's no reason, And then we can, in terms of the interferometry, those exist, and if you have the 30, 40, 50,000, some of those costs to buy it. Now maybe you would get stopped, or there'd be some kind of restriction possibly, but I don't see why. I mean, those things are, but I mean, those are used in some military stuff. I mean, but if you're not using it for anything like that, but anyways, and to replicate what Dayton Miller did as well, to go up at altitude. So yeah, having like our own airplane with all the equipment that's needed, that would be massive. Like, we could fly all around the plane. We could measure so many things. We could basically map the Earth ourselves. I mean, now, I know maybe you can't go to certain parts of Antarctica, or then there's the North Pole thing, but I mean, of all the continents we know, if you have your own money, I mean, your own private jet, or your own private chartered, whatever it is, I know there are some restrictions, but for the most part, you can fly all over this place, the Earth, and you could shoot all over. You could you could have your own like imaging systems, and you could be mapping the ground yourself and distances. I mean, you could do a ton with that. And all legal, as far as, as long as you're staying within, you could fly all over.
Couldn't we technically build an air balloon much cheaper, just with cloth and wood? And yeah.
An airship?
Yeah,
Well, airships are good, but they can't go as high of altitude. But yeah, we should do building airships.
But to map and travel simply.
That's the thing, though. It can get shot down. Like if there's a military presence in Antarctica, and they don't want you going over there, they'll just shoot the thing down.
Dude, you know
So
how
I-
they have like I know. Dude, you know how they have like balloons though, like like the hot air balloons. You go up, in wine country, that whole thing in the basket and all that. I've actually done that once. It's pretty cool. But anyways, dude, why don't people just have like one of those that would have like let's say like 4 or 5 balloons that would all be attached to a massive platform? And why don't they just have like restaurants up there and stuff? Like, is there anything illegal about that? Because that would be amazing. Like, you could build an airship, even with what we
Absolutely.
have now, that would be like, yeah, like what? Why doesn't that
I was
even
thinking,
exist?
I was thinking just going to like the southern tip of South America, the closest as you can possibly get to Antarctica, without having to go through these extra permits and all this other shit, and maybe get a high altitude like vantage point so that you could if you have a nice camera or telescope, you could see what the hell's out there on the edge, just to see, because we don't have any like high resolution images of Antarctica or the North Pole for that matter. You could just get a high like 120,000 foot vantage point
I know.
pointed towards Antarctica to see if it's really an island or a continent. Like that alone that would be huge, bro, for our community.
Oh, but dude, we could launch multiple balloons though as well, like multiple at simultaneously. Like even like if they let us go like even beyond the 60-degree more so where we could circumnavigate Antarctica, but even if you're at the 60, like we could set up like 5 boats with balloons that all around, in that way.
Dude,
And
that's
then
so affordable,
launch
dude. It's not
and
that
launch
much.
and launch all of them at the same time to be able
That's
to
something that we could do like this year. We can go fly out to wherever, go on a ship as far as we can to the Antarctica. What is it? What latitude is like 60th parallel? You start having problems, or what is it?
Well, the Antarctic Treaty,
80th?
there's a 60 thing going on with the Antarctic Treaty, but there is ways to travel beyond it, but there's certain restrictions and yeah, it gets into that zone.
Without having to go and get extra permits and all that. Just something that we could knock out fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it really just takes the resources because yeah, with the resources, you're right. I mean, that could be done this year, like you said. That could be done like as ASAP. It's just a matter of being able to. Yeah, because there's a lot of those things.
We have plenty of high altitude footage, right? Balloon footage from amateurs, but none of them are close to the North Pole or close to Antarctica, as far as I know. I haven't seen any.
I
So
mean, dude,
what's
it
it gonna
just seems
be
like there,
on
like
the
even with all the resources, it just seems like there is that thing that like the powers that be would stop you. But what I'm saying is that like I'm kind of like putting forth a path in which they wouldn't. And if this is meant to be, and this shift is meant to happen, because we would have to pretty much like as long as we're doing everything legally, like I said, we would have to be able to do a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe not everything right off the bat, but because everything else that like even comes from all this would have to is enough in and of itself. So we'd have to be able to do a lot of it.
Even I asked Witzel like, if they could have done that, and I don't think they could have at the time, or they didn't think of it. But I know it's windy, but who cares, bro? It's you just let the balloon go. It's still gonna get the footage, and then you can have it automatically. You can either set a timer that's automatic, or you can manually press a button and have the balloon pop, and then it comes down on a parachute, and you just go retrieve it, or even have it wirely transferred through satellite. The data. So even if you lose it, you can just have it transferred. There's so many things we could do, bro. I mean, that's what Witzel should have done. Honestly, I don't know if they would have allowed him, but.
Well, it could be a whole nother era because, dude, there's like the Jarl Andelhoy, but I mean that he was like shut down and everything happened, and then there's not really been too many others that have done much. And then you go back to like Admiral Byrd and everything that went on in World War II, but that was like a whole age of like Antarctica exploration, quote unquote. And then the previous one was like right before, like around World War I, where that was like the heroic age of Antarctic exploration, as they call it. So the last heroic age. So that was like that era. So
You know what I just realized, Gio? Only you answered the question that I asked before. I just realized it. If we go up high enough, what would you expect to see if you're a flat earther?
Yeah. Wait, you're asking that, or
I was before. I just realized you're the only one that answered it, and then we moved on. I mean, I'm
What do you?
curious though.
What was the answer?
Anybody else?
Did I miss it? What was your answer, Gio?
Oh, I might have gone on about some stuff. I mean, I could either repeat it or I probably said a few things about, yeah. Well, just that, like,
Well,
I mean, you would only see a portion, like, there's only going to be the part that's daytime, and then you're not, the darkness, you're not really going to be able to see, the dark, so on a planar surface, there's that in and of itself. Of course, on a globe, you would only see half of it as well. And then I was just mentioning things about, well, just like you're gonna, just like the high altitude footage we see as well, and just how, like, if there's a limit to how far you're able to see on a planar surface, then there's just always going to be that, like, kind of hula hoop circle of light that you're able to see on the planar surface, and that's always going to be limited. So you're not really ever going to be able to see potentially the entire thing in some kind of like zoomed out God
You see
mode,
the mark there?
just because of the limitations of the limitations
Right
of
there,
our
is that
light, the
enough?
limitations of how light propagates through the environment. Just attenuation of light and occlusion of light to where you would have like that black sky, the distance going off, but like you're never really gonna be able to see like the detailed plane going off forever. Therefore, it is gonna, like, it does, just like on that high altitude footage, it kind of fades. There's like a fading and then like a lot of blurriness in between, and you can't really see. You see a lot more of the land, but you can't really see like beyond a certain limit, it seems.
What do you think, Lion? If you don't,
What I
if
would
you want
s-
to answer.
Well, we have plenty of footage of high altitude balloons. What do you mean, though?
No,
From
no,
what
that's not
from
high
what
enough.
location?
You know, so you're going with that, like with
Well, how
what?
high?
With
How high are we
Dwayne
talking?
Kellum?
How
Is
high?
that
There's formulas for this, but how high are we talking about?
well? Forget about formulas, bro. The question is, if you were to go up high, really high, right? Now the ballers claim it's a ball, it's a sphere, right? Now you as a flat earther, what would you expect to see?
I would see a
I know it's a
circle.
tough question, bro. Me, I have
I would
no
see
answer, but
I would see a circle.
Yeah, because I
you
mean,
would
you're,
see
if
a
you're seeing
circle, what,
300,
floating in the vacuum of space, or like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
It would, yes, it
what
would.
do you
It would still
expect?
look. It would still look black. Background would still look black. Yes.
because I would say, SC, like, you're gonna have the 360-degree circle around you, and however much light is lighting up the area you're in, you're gonna be able to see that. But there also may even be a limit, like that you may even be able to not see all of the light even as is. But I mean, the whole horizon ends up being a circle all the way around you, and
So you don't see it as
it's
an
sort of like
object,
it's
Gio,
sort of like
that you
a,
can.
I guess, like a hula hoop on the ground, like a spotlight, because whatever the light is going to be it ends up seemingly to be like a circle, like a massive circle. Therefore, you get that kind of hula hoop effect because you're only seeing a portion of a much larger plane, and therefore some kind of a circular range of limited perception of it. But there's the question: could you go even higher than that, and would something else happen? That's interesting.
Yeah, but the way you're explaining it, and line, it's like you guys are almost explaining a metaphysical thing in what I'm hearing, like not necessarily an object that you can go around and see it as a whole. Am I correct?
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. I mean, how far are we? If we're talking about 250,000 feet, or like, what are we talking about? A
You're
million
Thanos, bro.
miles?
You're Thanos, the guy with the rings, right? You can go up as
Well,
high as you want.
I'm not saying anything about supernatural unless we're talking about like leaving your body and go, that thing. If we're talking about leaving our body and go and like seeing the realm from some kind of expanded state, that would be a whole different thing. But no, if we're talking about being like in a human body with your eyeballs or in some way, or I guess a camera if you're going to launch something up high.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would just like you would always okay if the plane. Now, okay, if you're gonna say you can see the whole plane, that's a different story. But I've never seen anyone like go high enough to where that would even be a thing, you know? Like, so I guess that's a question. Like, could you go high enough for that to happen? Because what is the
I would
highest we've seen? Like 130,000 is kind of what is that?
140,000, 130. I would expect to see a circle with upturned edges. Like that's what Picard's seen. That's what the Royal Astronomical Society seen when they went up really high. It seems to curve upwards. Whether that's due to perspective or some type of distortion due to refraction, I don't know. But yeah, it seems to be concave, dude. But I'm not a concaver.
Yeah, here it's hard to use logic, right? But you can use antecedent relationship, right? So you think of water. Now, water needs to be contained, right?
Right.
Look, I realize I'm asking an impossible question to answer, right? Like we're just, we're
speculating. It's fine. Yeah, and I would expect
yeah.
a container
Let's
to
get that
have
straight.
upturned
Yeah.
edges. Yes, a container would have upturned edges, and it would contain the water, and the water is planar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say like, I mean, you're just always going to be seeing a limited portion of that larger plane. That's what I was saying before. Like if you're talking about being able to see the whole thing or go up even higher or something, that would be kind of a whole nother layer of that. But let's just say from like the 130,000 that we've seen from that many feet up, unless you're going to say that you can see the whole plane of the Earth, which I don't think anyone is claiming that. So you're only going to be seeing a limited portion of it. Therefore, and that's going to be some kind of a circular. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, SE? Like you're seeing in a circular range around you. And if you're seeing a limited distance on a plane, you're not seeing any globe curvature, but you can get that like kind of that hula hoop effect because you are still seeing a circle of light, very high up above a surface.
Right. I hear what you're saying with a limited, but I'm going full Thanos here. The guy with the rings, right? I'm going full out. Like somehow you can, because look, flat earthers say the Earth is flat, right? Okay, I get it. You envision a plane. Me, I could even go as far as to say I envision something has to be level, and if there's water on it, there has to be something to contain water, right? But besides that, right? What else can we say? This is my point, right? Like if you're a flat earther, do you have, and maybe you don't, maybe you can go, what's the word, epohe, like you can put it aside, not think about it. But if you were to think about it, what are you on? Like for the ballers, it's easy. We're on a globe, right? But what does a flat earther envision he's on?
I don't know, but I got a whole list of ancient cosmologies in the ancient cosmology section with a bunch of depictions. And it would be something like that.
That is the ultimate question, right, Lion? Like that is the ultimate question. Yeah.
Not to objectify what we're on, because I think that like it just extends outwards, and we don't really know where the Earth ends and where it begins at all. And I don't think we'll ever know. But if we can try to speculate, hypothesize the part that we're on, yeah, it's just a circle, dude. It's a circle with upturned edges. That's it.
Well, wait, you mean with Antarctica going up at higher altitudes to be upturned, or do you mean like just the way it looks if you're seeing a local section of a plane that it tends to have that look to it?
I think it might actually have literal upturned edges. Like, not that the oceans are curving up. I'm not talking about concavity, but the crust actually raises in elevation towards the extremities of the Earth.
All right, like high altitude in Antarctica kind of thing.
Yeah, like high. Yeah, like how Mount Everest is 28,000 feet. That you have parts of the extremities of the Earth that are equivalent to that elevation, all the way around.
Dude, and when you look at all the ancient cosmologies, when they show like they have that spherical geometry, but it's a plane inside of a sphere. Yeah, like it's a stationary planar Earth that isn't usually kind of in the center point. Then you have like the hemispherical dome above, as it were, if you want to call it a dome, but you have the hemispherical region above that whole planar surface, and then you have the one beneath it as well, creating a whole sphere, in that sense of it. So from that perspective of that, then whatever, we may not be able to reach the limits though, or even see them. But
Right.
does that resonate? I mean, the fact that all the ancients all had that, and then you come and you have this inverted globe model thing, the way they say now, but it's like, do you think there's something to the whole thing being enveloped in some kind of sphere line?
Yes, sir.
So
Literally I can go through them. The Chinese, the Japanese, it says Jain, Buddhists. They all thought the same exact thing. The Greeks, the Incan, the Navajo, the Mayan, the Aztec, the Egyptian, and the Hebrews, the Sumerian and the Babylonian.
if the elevation of the poles is 3,000 meters, 3 kilometers in the north, and 5,000 in the south, Antarctic, whatever, the two of them added together makes 8. The polar diameter circumference is 8 kilometers more. It's 40,008 kilometers. So it makes sense to me that the equator would be higher than everything else by half of 75. So that will be 37.5 kilometers high. So if the equator itself was 37.5 kilometers high, that would stop us from seeing both the North Star and the South Star at the same time.
Yeah, like I've heard people say it's a level stationary plane. Level stationary plane. Okay? Maybe I would agree with all of that, but is that enough to describe the shape?
Well, the thing is, though.
Bulge.
Go ahead.
I was saying the realm just gave SE the bulge he was looking for.
Dude, totally. This thing's bulgy. We found the bulge. We found it.
There's the
yeah,
bulge.
so you know, like that phrase, like a plane of existence. So like a plane of existence is just that, like it is a plane of existence. And like what are the limits of that? I mean, that is a very deep thing. Like if we can even reach that. Because I could see an absolute way in which this whole realm could be created as we see it, and there would just be no way to get to any of the limits, up, down, horizontal, in any direction, that we may never actually reach. It's just one idea that you would never actually reach a wall or some material that you could touch or test or anything. Like for the going up, I mean, there could just be a gradient goes up so high, and the pressure, it gets so unbearable to where you just can't survive. Like no human, no animal, nothing could. Therefore, that's just a natural limit. You just die. You just can't go up any higher. You know, even though you still don't hit a limit. Now for now going horizontal in like the Antarctic or whatever that would all be. Well, what if it just gets cold and dark and cold and dark and there's no sun? Of course, there's the idea that there's more lands. But even if we just take that out, and then it's just you're further and further from the sun, there's no sun. And you would only be able to get so far with only so much food, and it'd be so cold and so barren that you just couldn't get further. Like it's not that you reach a limit, but that's one idea. You just can't get any further. And then going down in the oceans, yeah, who knows? There could be just an impenetrable, or just the great deeps that the pressure is so great. So it could be possible that like this is like it's a plane of existence that we may never physically in our human bodies be able to go and touch the outer edges, and we're just here, and this is it. We're on it.
Yeah, like I've said that many times. It's almost as if we're inside a machine that's designed to keep us out. Like you said, you go up high, pressure. You go down, pressure. Water, right? It's made salty. If you go this way, there's ice. Almost as if it was designed for us not to be able to leave.
But some people would make the argument that there is a limit, or there is like a dome barrier, or firmament barrier, or things like that, or there is something up high as well. So yeah, there is obviously those perspectives too. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not meant for humans to leave. Like as far as I know, like in terms of everything I know about being human, is that it is a corporeal, physical experience on the physical plane, as it were. Meaning you don't exist as a human outside of this realm. If you're outside of this realm, you're not in a human body, kind of thing. So, like this human body thing only happens, yeah, like here in that way, or it happens like.
even with our technology, right? We were only able to dig 7.8 miles down, even with our greatest technology. It seems there's a limit.
Oh, that's another thing we could do with the 5 billion is that we could go down. We make our own ultra deep borehole. See what we can, how deep we can go. That's another thing.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I don't see how they would like really like. Why would they really stop you from that? As long as like you own the land or whatever. See, that's the thing. Like, and if they did stop us, and then also if we had all the money to like show how they, I mean, if we wanted to like show how they were stopping us, that would even like reveal it more. You know what I'm saying? So.
Think about it. With all our technology, we were able to reach the depth, and the depth they wanted to go like twice as deep, right? To at least pass the first layer. They weren't able to reach. And why? Because some sort of exotic like material, they described it as molasses, like filling in on itself, or like a self-healing kind of a plastic. Now, what the heck is that?
That's the firmament, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that it wraps around the bottom of it. Yeah, it's supposed to be like some ice though, but it's hot, right? They said it was hot, or was it cold?
Dude, have you heard the idea line that there's other realms like this one that are spheres with that have a plane or some kind of plane of existence? What do you think of that idea? Not that they're in outer space. I know it's a jump, sorry, but not that they're in like some outer space BS, but that they're like that they just exist in like another time and space.
I don't think that they exist in another time. I think time is universal. Like it ticks uniformly throughout all the realms. So you could keep a clock, right? And you can take that clock with you in every single one of these realms that are above us or below us, and it's going to keep its time. Theoretically, right? But I do, yeah, dude. If you look at all the cosmologies that I have listed, dude, they all believe that there was realms above us and below us, and that they're terrestrial realms.
Well, but
similar
this idea
to ours.
Yeah. No, I got you on that. And then there's even that, like, there's that there is land in the sky. Have you heard about that?
Yes, and I'm not a glober. Like I don't think there's planets with land on them, but I do believe that there's land up there.
You're exposed. That's it. You're exposed. Land in the
Like
sky.
if you look at the Norse cosmology, the Celtic cosmology, they understood this to be the case. And then when you look at the Buddhists, they also understood this to be the case, that there was land above us and below us. Like in like a realm though.
You take your airship, you go into the right area, you pop into some upper world. No, but what I was talking about is like, okay, like do you view it in the way that, okay, there's this physical realm, and then if you view like as like you would, like if you're not in a body, you're in like your soul form, or you're in the spirit world, or however you would view that, and then the idea I was then saying is that like from that spirit world or whatever that transition would be, you could incarnate into another entire realm like this one that exists as well in reality, and it would have its own time and its own celestial things and its own beings and its own everything. And then are there infinite of those?
I think there's, according to all the ancient cosmologies, bro, there's seven of these divisions in our existence. And you can't get there by flesh and blood, because we don't have the right bodies to actually be able to get there. So we can only get there through like astral projection. But there's beings in those realms that are physical. And there's physical things in those realms. We just can't get there physically.
I mean, dude, that just excites me, just infinitely. It excites me. Like the idea that there's infinite of them, but even if there's one other or multiple others, that is incredible, because like that kind of puts it like in perspective, like all the suffering of this realm that is so deep and intense. But if it's all just happening in this pocket or this like part of consciousness, and it's just one of many, because maybe there's other realms that are like amazingly utopian, but maybe there's some that are horrible, like 1984, like NWO, even worse than we have.
You got it, dude. So I'm not to bring the scriptures, but the Ascension of Isaiah talks about that there's we've been isolated from the second realm above us and below. We've been quarantined. So even though there's like this cancer, this entropy that's leading to the gradual decline of our realm, that starts off like it started off on our plane of existence apparently, and spread throughout multiple realms, all up to the second layer above us that we can't get to. There's 2 more layers above us, 2 more realms above us that we can get to, but the entropy goes up to the second layer, and then beyond that it's isolated. So beyond that it's pristine and like perfect, and there's no death, there's no like there's yeah. I don't want to monologue, but yeah.
Can I ask a question?
It also.
This is more for Geo. Geo, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, your
So
mic.
you were at the Behind the Curve documentary, right? You said you had some roles back then with Jaren and stuff. So, I mean, I can only assume that you've seen all of the same evidences that Jaren has made, and he's made a switch. I personally had a trip to the Johnson Space Center in Houston last week, and I saw so many things, met so many people who are part of all of the projects that they're doing now, especially like the Artemis program. Doesn't that change your view a little bit? Have you visited any of the space centers around the U.S.?
All right, so I heard everything you said, but your mic is really, really hard to hear you. It's like very echoing, muffled, and that is also a very hard topic change. But that's cool. I mean, we were just kind of like talking about general stuff. Or we could shift
Yeah,
back.
but
We could shift back to
this is
whatever.
technically.
Well, since you
I
asked
mean,
me,
you
though.
were just talking about other realms, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll just try to be brief, but I'll just say, well, the only reason I ended up in that Behind the Curve documentary thing is because Jaren was, he put on his YouTube channel that he was going to be doing this laser test, and he just said anyone who wanted to come could come and help out. And then he said there was going to be a film crew there, but at that point we didn't know if it, like, he didn't know it was going to be on Netflix or whatever. It was just going to be a film crew. So I did know that, and I kind of hesitated before I left my house. I was like, do I really want to go? Like, I might end up on some like movie, but I was like, I guess I'll go. Because I wanted to meet like other flat earthers. Like, I'd never met anyone else like in person at that point, because I had already been involved in it for like over 2 years, and then still hadn't even met anyone in person yet. It was all just online. Anyway, so I decided to go. So it was only like 2 hours away. So I drove there, and that's how I somewhat ended up on it. Like, there is one little part where you can hear my voice. There's a little voice part, and then there's a couple shots of me like because I was there or whatever. But I'm not like in it really. But there is one little voice part. Even though you don't see my face talking when you hear my voice. You like only hear my voice. But if you listen for it, you'll hear my voice when I ask about the laser or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so that was that. And then I've also met Jaren at 2 other Flat Earth meetups in Sacramento back then in those years. So I met him at those 2 as well. So those were the 3 times I met him. But anyways, in terms of like, oh wait, so yeah, you had mentioned that, and then. Okay, then you were saying the Johnson Space Center, or no, like Jaren flipping, or wait, what were you saying? Yeah, there was that part, or you were asking something about that, and then you were saying the Space Center stuff, or you're saying about.
Yeah, so like evidence that's been coming out for the past, I want to say 10 years. And yeah, so the Johnson Space Center was just like an additional thing. Like I was just wondering if you've ever visited any of those places.
Yeah, I have, dude. I actually, believe it or not, I went to space camp when I was a kid in Huntsville, Alabama. Not because my parents really even thought of it, but I had a friend, like a childhood friend kind of thing, and his dad was like, had this idea of like space camp, and he was going to like, he had to take like a business trip down to Alabama because I grew up in Michigan, so he was going to be taking a business trip, and he's like, oh, I could take the kids. So he like proposed to my parents. He's like, hey, I could take the kids and take them to space camp. And my parents were like, all right, or whatever. So I guess we signed up for it. So I literally went to NASA space camp. Anyway, so that's not really a space center, but it is space camp when I was a kid. And it was ridiculous. We did all these little like dramas. Like, we basically faked like being in mission control. We just did a bunch of, we literally read scripts and like played around on like fake rockets, and we even bounced around on those like metal springs. Anyways, it was ridiculous. But yeah, so I did experience all of that as an actual child. I went to space camp, but yeah, I mean, the other space, if you're talking about the other space stations and stuff, like, or the other space centers, I mean, yeah, I'm familiar with those.
Yeah, but like Space Camp is more for kids and entertainment kind of thing. That's not really trying to understand what goes on in those programs. So I mean, just like suggestions is hopefully you guys are able to visit those kinds of places because honestly, I learned so much from that experience, and I hope you guys keep an open mind and check it out. That's it. Thank you.
No, I hear you, dude. I mean, that's a whole topic in and of itself. But I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, I've been more or less studying the entire space world for many years. We've talked about and gone through so much of it all. Yeah, I mean, in no way do I think it's valid in terms of that they're actually going to that medium they claim. I mean, I put a ton of work into looking into the moon landing. That is absolutely false. That is not a true representation of them being on a celestial body out there. That is a false, deceptively filmed hoax fabrication. So, anyways, that and then all the other space stuff as well. I mean, they sell it, that is for sure. But I mean, what have you been able to validate, or what has been compelling to you? I guess either one. If we're going to shift the whole convo into that, because it's kind of a topic change, but you brought it up. So if you want to share that.
Oh, nothing. I've just like at that time I just met so many people. Like we went to the astronaut training facility, which was super sick. Got to meet a lot of the people that were working on the project itself. We met one of the what's it called? One of the project leads of the Artemis program, and they were just doing like a little seminar session. So, but nothing much to validate 1969 and moon program or anything like that. But I mean, it looks like they're doing it again. So if they show you, like with the technology that we have and the ways of showing those evidences, and they do it again, will that maybe change your mind?
Showing what evidence is? What you mean? Going back to the moon? You mean that? You mean their claim of that?
Hell yeah, because they've already successfully did an unmanned launch, and they're doing the manned launch soon. So
You know how there's like different ways of knowing something. Like there's like firsthand, like primary knowledge, something that you've either tested or validated yourself. Then there's secondary knowledge, something that you either heard from someone or you saw really good evidence or something that was validated. Like for example, like I do think there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but it's secondhand. Like I don't have any primary knowledge of it because I haven't been there myself. But I do have, in terms of secondhand, like in terms of all the evidence, the footage, these guys going, etc. And then there's like third party, like tertiary, and that's where like there's a source of information which then goes through another, which then goes through, which that would kind of be like the government, which then goes through NASA, which then goes through the media, which then goes through us. That would be that kind of a system. So I mean, with space, like it's all pretty much tertiary, like it's third party at best. So would you agree with that? It's really not like anything you've been able to really verify.
I mean, is secondhand knowledge not valid if it's only secondhand? Like, is primary sources or what was that first thing you said? Is that the only valid type of evidence?
No, not necessarily. I was just bringing it up to kind of put it into just to bring that part of it up. No, I mean it doesn't necessarily mean it's invalid. Like for example, you could look at all the evidence of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. You could, even though it's still secondhand or even thirdhand, some of it, you could make a conclusion that could be correct just based on that, even though it's all secondhand. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's not a way to know something. But I mean, with the whole like outer space story, it's in an entire medium that really no one's been, none of our friends, family, anyone. And then the physics they claim is occurring there, and then the entire medium that they claim, and then that goes with the globe. So is there curvature? Is there motion? So it does all go together as well. But the thing is that like that belief that they're doing that does involve like an entire, like something that is even more outside of your lived experience than anything you've experienced. It's one thing if like, oh, somebody's been to another place on Earth, So that level of a leap. So I was just like wondering like where your discernment is in terms of making that leap, in terms of accepting it as being valid or not, or questioning it.
I mean, that's something I should be asking you guys, honestly, because there are, I mean, cameras on rocket ships right now, especially from SpaceX. And stuff. So, what would be the only valid, let's say, photo for you guys? Would that be a P1000 on the rocket, or what would you accept as a valid form of evidence? Because
Yeah, can we get a P1000 from like somewhere out in outer space there, looking at the big ball, and then can we zoom in to see like cities upside down and people walking upside down, zoom in and out? How about that?
can a P1000 do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying, dude. Like, it's
So,
one
I
thing.
mean,
One
if
thing
you're, if
we've
you're
never
asking for
seen.
us,
It's one thing
if
that's
you're
never
asking
been.
for evidence that that's not possible, then I mean, you're stuck. No.
It seems like it. Well, I'm kind of half joking, but I mean, I'm just saying an idea because you were trying to say in terms of something. I mean, that's a whole topic in and of itself. Like, what footage would be like if it was real? How much footage we would have of the globe and satellites all around it from all angles? But we really have like these limited shots of it. I don't know. Is this what you want to discuss? You want to go into like the whole question? Like, is space real? Is the outer space that the government agencies are basically selling us? Is that a real medium or not? Is that you want to go into that whole topic?
I mean, no. I actually have to go back to work soon. I'm just saying, like, there's so much more. There's so much evidence coming out. It's just that I feel like it's not being accepted. But that's it. I have to go back to work. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Gio.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, yeah, cheers, man. We can pick it up sometime, some other time. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, there is like a huge industry of the space stuff that they do. The question is like, is it a propaganda magic show or are they actually going and is that actually real? That's the question. And that goes with like, are we on a globe or not? Of course, as well. Are we orbiting the sun? Are we actually in a vacuum? Are we rotating? Is the Earth a sphere? Because it goes with all of that. Obviously, I mean, you would probably agree from the perspective that the Earth's not a sphere, then that story that they're telling of space would have to be kind of a government Hollywood filming in a sense, to some extent. But yeah, I think he said he had to go back to work. So yeah, we can just pick it up. Whoever else wants to jump in.
It's very simple. We don't trust anybody that says they've been high enough from NASA and that. It's very simple. Go high enough on your own with a rocket, call it whatever you want, and see for yourself. It's very simple. And you don't have to be on the rocket. You don't have to die. Nobody has to die. The technology is there. The rocketry technology is there. The camera technology is there. It's not, well, I was going to say it's not rocket science, but it kind of is.
You know what's wild, SE? Let's say like we were talking about like, yeah, if we want to go back to that, like the $5 billion thing. And let's say like we built an amazing rockets and we got up there and let's say we did not go into outer space, but we reached a limit or something like that. And then let's say that that information was, released, as it were. From what happened from their Antarctica trip, like at least within this community, it seems like it. I mean, how many people be calling it fake and that we're all agents and shills? I mean, but that may not really even be like the target audience anymore. I mean, okay, that's the community now or whatnot. But the thing is, at that point, it's not really about that. It would more be about really, potentially showing that to the world, being able to release that in that sense, where it's not necessarily, people that are all just going to call people shills and agents or whatever, even though that's fine too. And that can happen and people can try to say whatever they want to say. But I'm just saying, you see what I mean? Like that would all be kind of a
factor. Nobody would, of course, people would be doubting it, not believing it. Of course, I've seen that happen in the past few months. Absolutely, yeah.
But even people in the mainstream would too. They would probably doubt it too. So there's that as well. Of course, I mean, you know how much resistant it would be in the mainstream. I mean, like, dude, like one of the professors I studied with in my graduate school. Well, anyways, just because I'll just say real quick, just because he focuses on astrology. like the actual meaningful correlation of the luminaries with like, history and so on and so forth. And I know some people have their viewpoints on it, but I'm just saying he is like, I'm just bringing it up as a brief little example. Like he's completely attacked by the mainstream, even though what he's doing is legitimate and is correct. So I'm just saying, like, the mainstream itself can be vicious and they can do all their rejection as well. So I mean, any of these tests we're talking about, even if it's released to the mainstream, they are also going to have their questioning and all kinds of critics as well. But there's likely going to be a percentage of them that will be able to see it for the truth, or be able to kind of, have enough integrity to actually look into it and have enough scientific and honesty, and especially if there's enough of it that's really compelling.
You know what I think is going to happen? There's going to be a technological red line that everyone's going to be able to pass, and then they just won't be able to stop you. There's going to be enough tech that somebody could be able to build in his garage and just shoot it up, whether they like it or not. And there's going to be nothing that they can be able to do about it. I think we're reaching that point very soon.
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. The bigger picture of this is that if these entities in power are meant to lose their power, like if this is the creator, the larger like source of creation that is actually, compelling all of this into motion, depending on how one views that. And if it is meant that these entities are going to lose their position, then yeah, I mean, anyways, it just makes me think of that again. Yeah, because there's just like, there would have to be some major shifts that would have to open up for something really to change. And we seem to have always lived under this thing of like, oh, they would just take you out, they would kill you, but at the same time, like, maybe not. And maybe in the future, that's not the case, because wouldn't we have to show all of these things to actually cause the full shift? Like a full paradigm shift? Like we would actually have to have so much more evidence than we currently do, even to really cause a whole shift. Because even if you had the money now and you just went out with what we have now, is that really enough? It kind of goes into that. That's kind of what I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, will they ever let you get it out to the masses? Even if you can build a rocket, let's say now, like what I was saying, right? Technology becomes good enough where you yourself could build a rocket, buy like small parts, put a camera in it, and send it up many, many miles, right? Will they ever let you show that footage to the masses?
Well, here's the thing. Like, well, real quick. So go ahead, Andy. But let me just say, like, so you have like, I see it this way. I'll just say this real quick. You have like the laws right now. We have laws, and they are what they are. And if you break the law, then yes, you could be, this or that. But if you don't break the law, then that means that whoever on the the secret societies or the cabal or whatever on that side of things, it's like they would have to break the law to stop you. So it's like the law is in between. You see what I'm saying? Like if you don't break the law, but they are breaking the law, then it's like they have to break the law to do something to you. And could law be so powerful on some spiritual level that you could like be protected, that as long as you don't do anything illegal, they'll never do anything illegal to you, and therefore as long as you stay within legal bounds, you could launch up just like the GoFast people. You could launch up rockets and release the footage. There's nothing illegal about that, as long as the rocket, you have the permits or whatever. That, I mean, the GoFast guys did it.
So that's true. It would be good to ask some of these guys, like, what did you have to go through? What permits? What laws? What state were you in? Yeah, we need to know that. And like Dwayne
like
Kellum
probably
also.
can't do it. Like you probably can't do it in New York City. You know what I'm saying? From from downtown New York, you probably can't do it. So yeah, it probably has to be in certain areas and stuff. But yeah, I mean, unless they change those laws, like there's already enough now that you could get a lot of data that would really start to completely shatter the current paradigm, even way more so than it is now.
Dwayne Kellum is a perfect guy for that. And I even reached out to him a couple of years ago, and he was willing to do an interview. I think I'm going to reach out to him again because he was having some issues and he said, I can't do it now, but I forgot all about it. I'm going to try to reach out to him because we know a guy that has actually launched many of these balloons, right? So he would be an interesting guy to talk to.
Them balloons don't go up too high, though, do they? They can only go up to like 125,000 feet, something like that. So,
Yeah, but he would know the laws, the regulations, Andy, like what he had
Yeah.
to go through. Yeah.
Yeah. That Go Fast people, that was interesting. So I was trying to find like how much that costs, and I'm pretty sure I couldn't find it, like an exact number. I imagine it's not cheap though. Even for something like that looks cheap, right? I don't think it would be cheap. I think even that would be expensive. But the point I was going to make is that we find ourselves in a time where we've incentivized truth, and this is bad. This is bad shit, right? Because the this is why we're talking about Owen Benjamin and that message of do not rely. Because if you don't rely on the whoever it is, the piper that's calling the tune, then you see how that's real freedom, then, isn't it?